Oh, yeah. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Brocast. It's Sunday, it's 3 p.m. I am Commander Josh Hawkins, your host, joined by my co-host Shibuka.
Hello.
And Commander Turchin Starstone.
Evening all.
We have a guest on today with us here, Commander Kronfromgalvatron, or I think we can just refer to you as Commander Kron.
Yeah, that's fine. Hey, everybody.
All right, and we've got a lot to talk about, so we're going to be doing a whole lot of talking today. We want to see that chat active with questions for Kron and for us. We've got a whole bunch of theories. Shibuka's been wearing his tinfoil hat pretty much all day.
My entire body is wrapped in tinfoil right now.
This whole weekend, he's just like...
Too much
wrinkly
information,
tinfoil man.
I am
Thank
a
you.
tinfoil mummy.
He is a tinfoil mummy. Lots of theories abound, lots of interesting things to discuss. Well, I mean, let's just tell people what we're going to be discussing. If you guys have not been paying attention, there is a new CG.
A shame.
Yeah, shame on you. New CG going on right now. There is a dual request, one from the Federation and an identical request from the Children of Raxxla for scan data, for discovery data from 3 different sectors, the Formidine Rift, Conflux, and Hawkins Gap. And these beacons have been popping up all over the place in those 3 sectors. And each one of the beacons has a code that well, not a code, excuse me, a message that's been decoded. And although, from what I understand, at least the message is identical for each one of the beacons in those 3 sectors, the sectors themselves have one slight difference in the message that's being broadcast for each of the individual sectors. So Shibuka and Commander Kron are going to discuss with us what their theories are, and they've been discussing this with Commander Aramis and a bunch of other people, I'm sure, all part of the Children of Raxxla, to try and figure out what this all means. So put on your tinfoil hats and be prepared to theorize with us here, because there's some really interesting ideas that have been put across the table right now, and I think you guys will all be very interested in hearing what Commander Kron and Shibuka have come up with.
Whew.
Yeah.
Yeah, my hands are sweaty. I'm so excited to talk about this.
Let's say hi to some of the people in the chat. I saw you guys were really active in the chat before the show, which was awesome, by the way. So let's just say hi to a few of the people that are in here right now. Let's see. We've got General Ghost, Tim, just Tim, J Funky, Luigi, another Tim, Timothy Langfield, Elite Alien, Gray Test, Noobsy, I like that one, Doom WZ, Calrus Septimus, Benny Stingray, and lots more. So I'm not going to go through the whole list because I just realized it's like 4 pages long. But hey, everyone. Hello, Commanders. Thanks for joining in on the Brocast, and hope you're ready for a good show today. So without further ado, let me start my client up here. There's not going to be any event today. I just want to put that out there. I'm sorry. We have so much to talk about. It's going to be impossible to run an event, but I think next weekend we'll do something cool, and I have a couple ideas in mind. And for mountain climbing, because I saw a couple of people were like, hey, are we doing mountain climbing today? I will be doing another mountain climb this week. I'll be doing it on my regular live stream, so you guys are more than welcome to join in there and hop on for some mountain climbing fun. Here comes the client, Frontier, and Elite Dangerous, and we'll get started. I have bookmarked many places to fly to today while we chat. Some really cool, interesting places. I'm in the core of the galaxy, so there's going to be a lot to see. And let's talk theories.
Well, before we talk theories, I feel like I know a lot of the Children of Raxxla are watching right now, and I want to thank you guys for coming on here. But first, I feel like a lot of our regular watchers aren't going to have much of an idea of who/what the Children of Raxxla are.
Right. So
because there's not a lot of info, and especially with the community goal description and everything, it doesn't really give a
very
nice
helpful.
description
No.
of who they are.
Right.
So first, let's show the little Children of Raxxla video intro from their webpage, and we'll start to talk about Children of Raxxla first, and sort of introduce them as a community group and as a minor faction, and then we'll get into the rest. How's that sound?
Super.
Okay, let me get my little Children of Raxxla video ready and up and running here. I think it's this one. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Children of Raxxla.
We are the lonely souls who lost their home to the shadows.
We look back on the deeds of our fathers, every day trying to be better.
We are wanderers, looking for answers in the void of space.
We are Children of Raxxla.
Yay! All right. We are the Children of Raxxla. Now, I didn't see anywhere in there mentioning that you guys are terrorists.
That's right. That's an astute observation. And thank you for pointing that out.
But I think that's something else that we want to talk about, right?
Yeah, I think that would be something to put a few words out there addressing.
Well, let me do this first. I got to pull a dirty sock over my microphone. There we go. No, I'm not kidding. I'm pulling my dirty gym sock over my microphone. There we go.
We needed to know that. Thanks.
Thanks for sharing.
It's very important. It's an essential part of the Brocast is the dirty sock on my microphone.
Wasn't it? Didn't it used to be dirty pantyhose?
No, it was never dirty pantyhose.
So something about a coat hanger and dirty pantyhose.
Oh,
I'm not judging you, Josh.
Okay, right. No, you're absolutely right. Actually, I did use a pair of old pantyhose as my pop filter when I was doing my series and recording like all my lines and everything. But that was way too complicated. I had like this coat hanger all bent up with a pair of pantyhose pulled over it, and I wrapped the wire around the microphone boom, and I used a twist tie to like keep it in place, and it just like wobbled all over the place.
I didn't know this was going to be that kind of show. We got coat hangers, dirty pantyhose.
Yeah, I'm out of here.
Was there a ball gag involved?
I was just gonna say, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, that's welcome to the Brocast, Kron. I know it's your first time on with us here today, but you'll learn a lot about the bros and the guests and also
I feel as the
audience.
The representative of traditional global culture here, I must apologize for these two.
Well, never boring, at least.
Well, the end of that story is basically that I was looking into getting an actual pop filter, and then I read somewhere that instead of buying a pop filter, I could just go on the cheap and throw a sock over my microphone. I was like, oh, perfect. And the only little socks that I have are my gym socks, the ankle socks for my gym shoes. And I found the cleanest one that I could, fresh out of the wash, although it's still kind of gray looking. I just pulled it over my mic, and it works just great.
Oh, God.
No more popping.
A pair of socks from the store will be like $3, Josh.
Gym socks. They're gym socks.
It doesn't matter. You could put an actual like tube sock on there. It does the same thing.
No, I don't want to pull it over the buttons and the knobs and stuff. I still want to have access to that. I just need a little dirty sock. One sock is fine. Anyhow, I'm okay with it. It smells great. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Anyway, back to the topic at hand.
I saw some people in chat saying, we are not terrorists. Okay, so
this is true.
I didn't say you were. Don't please.
All right, we were talking about that.
Yeah, don't get offended.
Yes.
I am not saying that the Children of Raxxla are terrorists. I just said that in the video it didn't say anything about you guys being terrorists. So...
but a video about an organization that's a terrorist organization wouldn't claim to be terrorists in their video.
They would claim to be freedom fighters.
I'm just kidding. I'm a staunch supporter of the Children of Raxxla.
Well,
so do not twist my words.
Because many people in the chat do not know who the Children of Raxxla are. Kron is a member of the Children of Raxxla. Kron, why don't you tell us, first of all, what is your position with the Children of Raxxla so people understand who you are and why we have you here talking about them. And then we'll talk a little bit about who the Children of Raxxla actually are.
Yeah, sure. So my official position, one of the console, which is sort of the joint leadership of the group, and my role within the console officially is spokesperson and head of recruitment. But sort of, we have a really great leadership team in terms of we all really get a little bit into everything and work close together. So, some days I'm looking at new member applications, and some days analyzing log files to find, statistically significant variances in some star type or something. So ombudsman might be a better role because I do a little bit of everything, but primarily membership type of stuff, although the tick helps a ton with that.
Okay. And the Children of Raxxla, I mean, aside from gaining popularity in the game itself, I guess through Galnet, and oh gosh, I gotta turn my game volume down here. Let me turn my game volume down when I finish this jump. But aside from gaining popularity, you guys started as a player-run faction, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So before the days when we even had player group minor factions in game, there was a number of us that were essentially what was to become the Children of Raxxla, and sort of operating even before the days of Discord on other media tools and stuff. And this came out of course, the interest in the storyline from Drew Wagar's Elite Reclamation title,
Right.
with Salomé Kahina. If you haven't read it, I won't spoil anything, but if you haven't read it, you should definitely read it. And so, essentially the abridged spoiler-free version of that is that there's, some type of mysterious something that lies, beyond the galactic arm. And, the characters in the book, imply that some sort of powerful force or entity, something potentially even scarier or worse than the Thargoids. And it's in game to find. And this was back in Gamma. And so Commander Thorn, I believe, was sort of the first to go out there, and he spent, a lot of time exploring in the region of the Rift. They found Bovomit permit sector, and I think eventually got some confirmation from Drew that that's more or less kind of the right region we should be looking around in to find whatever it may be. So from that, the group kind of grew. We registered to be an in-game minor faction called the Children of Raxxla, and so now we're doing a lot of that same stuff in terms of trying to really stay involved and with a lot of the in-game mysteries, do the exploration side of things, and try to parse out all these clues and storylines that are both in Galnet and some of the official and unofficial lore.
When did you guys start gaining real traction? I mean, like, when did you go from a couple of members to, you said 60 or some odd members you have now?
Yeah, and it depends how you count. I think we may have 200 or 300 registered on the website, but in terms of sort of active at any given moment, it's probably typically 50 to 70. So I think when that occurred was probably after, fairly recently, because, Drew Wagar is now, officially involved with continuing to write and be involved with directing even some of the, overlapping, spider web of mysteries and storylines within the game.
Mm-hmm.
And so now, knowing that in fact his lore and his stories are not going to be, dropped or considered non-canon, there was a huge resurgence in interest because there's so many players that are just really love this whole, Salomé storyline, and, feeling confident now that it's not just going to be dropped off by FD. People were really kind of flocking to the group and trying to get involved.
Well, I think that, okay, let's not spoil the whole story. Obviously, Reclamation is a full book. I mean, it's going to be hard to spoil the entire story, but I think we could at least mention who Salomé, and I know I'm probably butchering the name. Is it Salomé?
That
Shalom.
seems to be the consensus.
Okay, I don't know what I
Yeah,
said in my
that's the
video.
old mythological pronunciation, so yeah, that would be right.
I know I didn't say salami. I think I said salame. Salome. I don't know.
It's
what the-
fancy salami.
fancy salami.
Salome.
Salami.
So
Salome.
Salome. Salome is the official leader of the Children of Raxxla. Is that correct?
Let's see, how do we stay that? We look to Salome for leadership and insight, guidance and direction. But, of course, there's many times when she's not around, because she is not someone who's always available. And obviously, as of late, that's especially true. But yeah, she is certainly, a figurehead and someone to whom we look for, guidance and direction.
Well, listen, I just want to say, because I don't know how many people have followed the story. Currently, Salome is incarcerated, right? She's locked up. And she's been locked up because of an attempted assassination, or at least that's what she's accused of.
Alleged.
Yeah, well, and actually,
Alleged.
that's still a little bit she may be incarcerated. She certainly was. There was some uncertainty, following one of our latest operations, and it's possible that she may have escaped at that time. But we're sort of unfortunately in limbo, conducting a little bit of searches. We actually undertook a military operation to go after the capital ship that we had intel, indicating she was on. A number of escape pods were ejected. We had some commanders searching sort of the nearby bodies in that system, but as of yet, it's uncertain whether or not she's still in custody, or in fact may have been freed, but is unaccounted for.
It sounds that, for a group with a leader who's unaccounted for and really difficult to find, maybe you guys could use a little change of leadership. I am willing to offer up myself to be the new leader of the Children of Raxxla. I will make the Children of Raxxla great again, okay?
You wouldn't fit into Salome's dresses. It just wouldn't work. She's got more style.
I look pretty. I look pretty good in a dress. Just saying.
Yeah, that is. We're gonna need headshots.
Yep, Josh is gonna have to sign up for a glamour shoot with somebody.
Oh yeah, no problem. Done and done.
Do they still have glamour shots? That'd be a great way to get started. You could look like a really hot '80s chick.
How do you know I don't already look like a hot 80s chick?
You need to grow the mullet back, Josh. That's what you need to do.
The beard. It's a giveaway.
Clean shaven with a mullet, maybe a.
It's true. You don't see many dwarf women. Yes, it's
it's the beards.
Oh,
so, well, I guess here's what we'll do. We'll talk a little bit more about Salome in a bit. Let's talk about the Children of Raxxla and why the Children of Raxxla were formed. I know that we're basing this on the book. This is where the Children of Raxxla originated, right? Was from the story of Reclamation, correct?
Yeah, that's right. And actually, more specifically, the Children of Raxxla are probably their impetus or coming into existence is probably best captured by the novella that's on our website. And so,
oh right, there's like
essentially
a 24-page PDF. I think it was something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's really the description of the sort of coming into being of this particular group. Within Reclamation itself, we have inferences to the Dark Wheel, and there's definitely some tie-in there, between Dark Wheel, which is some of the oldest lore, one of the most mysterious factions of commanders, and Children of Raxxla. But obviously, calling ourselves the Dark Wheel was not on the table for a number of reasons, and which is good. It makes sense.
Oh, it's kind of a cool name, though.
The Dark Wheel?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Oh, it's a very cool name.
Back in 1984, it was. Yes.
Yeah.
It's been a cool name for 30 some odd years.
Yeah.
Raxxla, of course, was the planet. And now, see if my lore is right on this. You guys correct me, because I've been doing a decent amount of research on this since I just put out a video on it the other day. So Raxxla is this mysterious planet that apparently contains a portal to other universes. Is that right?
What?
Kind of.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Well,
Sorry, guys. Yeah, who wants to take that one? I believe I'll give 2 cents as best I understand it. So what we really know about Raxxla is very limited, obviously, but from the title, The Dark Wheel, which is essentially a novella that came along with the 1984 version of the game, it seems to be implied that Raxxla is a planet. It is some sort of portal into something, whether it's another galaxy or another dimension. And individuals of the Dark Wheel are involved in protecting or somehow, curating this this power and this place. But that's only a part of it. So please, others chime in.
and this is also something that is apparently has been in the game since day one.
Yeah, Raxxla's kind of like it's sort of in the Indiana Jones mind, as far as story perceptions go. It's one of these ancient mysteries that has so many things woven about it. The answer you get depends on who you ask as to what they think it is. But there's some people say it's older than the galaxy, a planet. There's some people say it's like some sort of gateway to other dimensions or other galaxies or other times. So it's one of these sort of lost myths, the ultimate sort of holy grail of the elite universe is basically what it comes down to. And,
it's surrounded in so much mystery. It's hard to distinguish.
Salomé's the one that
from
has
myth.
who potentially, possibly has some, like Holy Grail diary, I suppose, is what it comes down to.
Yeah,
isn't it? That's the gist of it.
Yeah, I think that's a very good way to put it.
Well,
and so having her rotting in a cell is not a good thing for the story of the elite universe. No, we need her out.
Yeah, not unless you want, the feds or some other, major power who may not have all of our best interests in mind to get a hold of all this stuff.
Well, we don't know what this stuff is yet, right? I mean,
yeah,
that's kind of where the mystery of all of this whole new
if you want to
coming into play.
Yeah, if you want to extend the Indiana Jones analogy with Grail hunting, you've got on Salomé's side hunting the Grail, and you've got the people that are trying to find the Grail first in that film.
Mm-hmm.
If you see what I mean, and they would be the feds. That's the role that they're playing in this story, and if you support them, well, you know who you're supporting.
It's a matter of, if you look at how these superpowers in the game have treated the mystery so far, the first alien crash site, it wasn't a week before there was a federal battle cruiser hovering above it, and if you got too close to it, it would shoot commanders down. Canon has been dealing with a lot of federal and Imperial involvement in a lot of these mysteries, including what's his name, the engineer? Oh dear God, Palin. They pretty much put Palin under house arrest. And if you go by what has happened with the superpowers and the mysteries going on, if the feds win this community goal, what information are they going to feed back to us? What information are they going to keep for themselves for their own political power?
How many more lies are they going to throw our way and expect us to swallow?
Well, there's a couple ways we can look at this though, and let's just keep in mind there are a lot of people who play the game for this story, and Shibuka was saying last night, and you can certainly say it again, Shibuka, how much fun you're having with.
Oh yeah, this game and the stories surrounding everything, like, no offense to the way you play your game. You do you play the game how you want. That's the beauty of this game. But the way I've been seeing it, especially recently, is Frontier can keep their combat. Frontier can keep their trading, keep your mining. And I would almost say I love exploration, but right now Frontier can keep their mindless exploration. I'm playing this game for the mystery, for the story.
Yeah,
I've never
the
had this
story.
much fun playing a game while not playing a game. I can spend hours researching online and reading the forums and keeping up with Discord and just kind of watching this story unfold around me, and the feeling that gives me, and like,
And being part of the story
yeah, being
now,
part of
you
it.
are.
I mean,
You're
it's
part of the story unfolding. You're part of
ridiculous.
elite lore.
You are
and that
officially
is a
part.
very unique thing. How many games out there can you say that about?
Well,
None.
I think what Drew has done is fantastic because, I mean, he's not just, taken this story by the reins and literally driving it into the community in the game and making it official canon, but he's also found a fantastic engine for himself to even assist in his creating of the story because he has all of these people in the game that are basically creating story along with him, and then he gets to use that for his book, and that's what I think the next book is all about, right? Is it's like an evolving sort of book that's
Interaction. Everything, every major thing that players find or players do is going to end up in the book. Like when Aramis and the Children of Raxxla assaulted Patrius's capital ship and drove him out when they thought that Salomé was on that ship. That's going to be in the book. Like that player interaction, there was nothing but love for the game and love for the story that drove the Children of Raxxla to attack that ship. That was completely player driven, and that is going to end up in this upcoming novel. And the fact that I haven't read anything in Premonition, which is Drew Agar's book that's going to be coming out, but if he can pull this off and have it be like completely, seamless and have all these player interactions in it, is going to be one of my favorite reads of all time.
Yeah, I can't wait. I think it's going to be awesome.
Well, there is a lot developing with these stories, and I mean, how it's all going to be tied in there. I don't even know how he's going to squeeze all of that into one book. I mean, we have so many mysteries still that have yet to be unraveled.
Well,
we've got the
know.
runes,
That's
we've
why
got,
he's a writer, isn't it?
yeah,
Yep.
it really is. But I mean, coming back to you saying about the exploration, like you love exploration. That's one of the reasons why I love exploration as well, is just because you're basically creating your own story. And I think, well, I mean, for like myself and Turgeon and you, we kind of did create our own stories.
Literally creating our own stories.
Literally,
Yeah.
it's like we're like mini Drew Wagars, but we're doing it, in
video form.
in video
yeah.
form.
Super part-time.
Yeah.
Yeah, very super part-time. If we were doing this as a full-time job, it would be very different. But I mean, okay, so coming back to the story, coming back to what Drew is writing into his book and how the Children of Raxxla are actually part of that. The Children of Raxxla, you guys became, well, the Children of Raxxla as the title, did that come from the book specifically? Is that where it came from?
I think not actually. That I believe came from sort of everyone who was involved at the time when we needed to, submit our application to be a minor faction. Everybody submitted a few names they liked, and then we just voted on it, and that came out as the top. So
okay, so that's a name that you guys came up with, but it was based on Raxxla, and of course, Salomé as being chosen as the leader. That's kind of like the idea is like you guys are followers of Salomé. Is that's what we're understanding,
I mean,
right?
we wanted to keep something related to Raxxla perhaps in the name, so that the tie-in kind of between the Dark Wheel group was a part of it and somewhat clear, because definitely part of our lore is that we're sort of a spin-off or have some overlap with the mysterious Dark Wheel.
Yeah, and the 24-page PDF that's on you guys' website, I actually read that today. It's kind of describes a little bit of the overlap, like you said, between the Children of Raxxla and the Dark Wheel, but it is explicitly about Salomé being chosen as the leader of the Children of Raxxla. And without giving too much away, the Dark Wheel basically gave her that position. Dark Wheel was like, you guys need a leader. We've got Lady Kahina here, who is also known as Salomé, we think she'd be a great fit. Here you go, have at it. And
Yeah,
it was a fantastic short read. I loved it so much, and I'm just so excited. I can't hardly talk. It's just so great.
You're fanboying again.
I am. I always fanboy at least once during the stream.
Squeeze.
Well,
Yeah.
I gotta say, it's something that I really should do, is pick up Premonition or sorry, Reclamation rather,
Yep.
and read it. You know, the more we get involved in this, and I know that I've never really been much into the background story of Elite. We've had a lot of people come on and talk about it. You know, as a player of the game itself, the lore and the background was never as important to me. I really like what Frontier's doing by adding in the aliens and the fact that they lead up to it, and there's mystery surrounding it. And all of that is really cool to me as a player, but for me, it's more about driving my own story, and then I like to report on the things that are going on. But the more that I report on it, the more I find out, the more I'm learning how deep that story really goes. And I mean, these stories are going back, 30 years or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like nuts
Yeah.
to the beginning of Elite Dangerous, or not even Elite Dangerous. What was it called back in the...
Just Elite.
Just Elite?
Yeah.
Just Elite, yeah, and in '84, and it had the novella, The Dark Wheel, with it.
Yeah, that's right.
By,
So-
what was he called? Robert Holstock, is it? Seem to recall.
Yeah.
Yes, Robert
Yeah,
Holstock.
I think so.
And there was a video that was actually, I think it was on IsoKick's website, where this guy starts talking about the Dark Wheel and Raxxla, and he's like looking at, he found another book that was written by the same guy under a pen name. That was like all images, and there was a lot of theories that this guy had come up with, and he was like showing like lizard type creatures and all kinds of weird stuff. I mean, there's a lot of things that could be assumed out of all this, and I think that's one of the things that we're going to be doing very shortly, is we're going to be talking about some of these theories and some of these assumptions that's sort of surrounding the whole. I don't know if it's necessarily the Dark Wheel, or if it's the Children of Raxxla, or if it's a combination of all of it. Like, we don't really know yet. All we know is that the feds are involved, Children of Raxxla are involved, Salomé is somehow involved, and maybe the Dark Wheel is involved in some sense, right?
That's basically the gist of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A whole bunch of people are involved. We have no idea what the hell's going on.
We have no idea what the hell
Welcome
is
to
going on.
Elite Dangerous, everybody.
Yep. We don't know
We've
until...
got some ideas, but certainly unconfirmed for the most part.
Yes.
But that's sort of the fun of it.
Well, that is the fun of it, right? That's where we get to put on our tinfoil hats and come up with these theories. So let's talk about the CG. The CGs that came out recently, and if you guys haven't had a chance, you can always go back and watch the video that I put up on my YouTube. I think it summarizes pretty clearly what's going on, but we're going to go over all of it again here, and let's talk about what happened. So we know that a CG came up simultaneously from the feds and from the Children of Raxxla. And the CG requested scan data, discovery data, from 3 different sectors of the galaxy. One being the Formidine Rift, which, I think everyone in here is probably familiar with the fact that the Formidine Rift has been the area of space that has kind of been shrouded in mystery, that Drew has hinted about, and there's been some stories, and this all ties back into the book that something was seen around the Formidine Rift, and I want to say that it was something like the sky was filled with the alien ships or something like that, right?
Yeah, that's actually not canon anymore.
Not canon anymore. Okay.
That story is not canon.
Rewind. I never said that.
I'm
don't
telling
know.
you, it's so hard to keep up with what is and isn't canon.
It's Space Drunk's Tales in Bars now.
Yes.
Okay.
That's
Space
I
Trucks
think
did
that's
that.
basically what Drew Wagar said, is treat those stories as if you heard them in a bar.
All right. Fair enough. Well, it's an interesting story nonetheless, as if we heard it in a bar. But this is the thing. The Formidine Rift has this shroud of mystery surrounding it because something is out there, or some people believe that something's out there, and maybe it's like a wild goose chase, or maybe there's some hidden treasure off in them hills. We don't know. But that's one of the areas where the CG is sending explorers to fly out to, and it's not a quick trip either. I mean, it's a heck of a jaunt to get out to the Formidine Rift. What did we say? Like less than 10,000 light years, but I mean, that's still what?
Yeah.
Well, for people who don't explore, yeah.
For people that don't explore, forget it.
whole-
You're never
yeah.
going to go there. I think Orion is like 3,000 light years, and that took me a couple of days to get out there at my first exploration trip. So Formidine Rift is it's a jaunt. It's something that you're going to take several days to fly out there if you're taking your time. And if you're racing, you can probably do it in a day, but that means you're going to be jump scan. And then you have Conflux, which is pretty much the same distance from the bubble as well. I think that one was also like 8,000 or 9,000.
Yep, something
light
like
years,
that.
something along those lines. And then you have Hawkins Gap, which is the furthest. That one was around 11,000.
More like 11. Yep.
All three of these locations contain beacons that are being found, and the beacons have these encoded messages in them. Okay, the encoded messages were coded with something called Caesar cipher. Shibuka can tell us a little bit more about that. Shibuka, tell us a bit about this Caesar cipher stuff and what happened. How did people figure out? I mean, I know that there's like programs and stuff, but give us a bit of insight as to how this was all decoded. You were involved in it.
Yeah. So when all this came about, the first beacon that was found was in the EFOT sector. I forget who it was that found it. They were already out there. But the beacon was found. It gave us a whole bunch of blibbity gibbity goop that nobody could understand. And I was actually looking at it with a buddy of mine, Ducros, trying to decode it, trying to look at it, and we didn't know it was a Caesar cipher at that time. We just kind of used common sense with like letters and everything. We got most of it decoded, and then I think somebody just threw it into a huge like code-breaking website, and it applies a whole bunch of different ciphers to it. And then they said that the most likely one was a Caesar cipher. They went through like a Caesar cipher needs a specific word to decode it, and it was found that the word to decode the Caesar cipher was the word Exodus. So
Which is telling in and of itself.
yes, it
because
is.
That word
is a huge clue.
That word comes up in a few places that we'll talk about as well.
Yeah. So once we figured that out, it was pretty simple. You know, you get to the beacon, it reads out these creepy, just giving you the phonetic letters, and you jot all that down and throw it through a Caesar cipher, and you get what the message actually says.
Now, could we get the message, Turgeon? Would you be able to post that, or can someone put it in admin? Or Turgeon, you can grab one of them from
Announcements has a bunch of it in there.
Yeah, take it
All
from
of them are there.
announcements.
Yeah, there's some
and
in
throw
there.
it into the chat so that we can take a look at what one of those messages were.
Oh, I'll just grab the Hawkins Gap one.
Sure. Turgeon's going to throw that in the
just
chat, so you guys
Paste that in chat so people can
and
get
put
a
in,
gist of
put in the decoded
what we're talking
one.
about.
This is the decoded one, okay?
Yeah.
So this is after it was decoded or unencrypted, and there's several lines. So the first line is the name of the system that the beacon is in.
Well, that's just the description of it. That's not the first line.
Oh.
First line is the dynasty.
Right. Is that not showing up here properly? Dynasty Expedition. Okay, there it is.
Yeah.
Right, message decrypted. Okay, it's just the way that it's showing up in the chat for me here. So the first line is the Dynasty Expedition Beacon. It seems like something's wrong there. Is the DNSTY supposed to be on line 2?
Yes. It just didn't include all of the line breaks.
Okay, so the line breaks aren't in there.
Yeah,
Apologies. Just makes it a little
Chat later.
confusing for reading. it.
Yes, I don't know how chat does put line breaks in, so
Yeah. Okay.
it doesn't. That's how it does it.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't. Okay, so
It probably follows YouTube rules, and I can't remember how you put line breaks in YouTube models.
the first line is Dynasty Expedition Beacon. The second line is DNSTY S6ERP001, right?
Yes.
And then it says Rally Point 2, and then the next one is Hawkins Gap, and then the next line is the sector name, and then the last line is Node Standby.
Or mode standby. It's
or
not
mode.
completely clear, but I don't think it matters too much.
I think we got the general idea is that it's node or mode or whatever it is. Something is on standby. And we assume they mean the beacon or that particular message, whatever it may be. So the first line, Dynasty Expedition Beacon, is telling us that this is the name of the beacon itself. It's part of this Dynasty Expedition. The second line, DNSTY, safe to assume that means Dynasty. It's just abbreviated. S6ERP001. That 001 is the only thing that changes across the three different sectors. It's 001, 002, and 003 depending on the sector, right? 001 was Hawkins Gap, 002 is Conflux, 003 is Formidine Rift.
Correct.
Okay. Everything else remains the same, except for the fact that the rally points that they're pointing to also changes, and it points to a planet or a star.
Yes, it points to it's either the first or second set of landables within that system. So this one was Rally Point 2. It points to a landable planet in that system.
And that is different for each and every system. And
Correct.
This is what has been requested by the feds. They wanted people to go out to these systems. They said within a 200 light year radius, they wanted people to bring back the scan data. And you can bring it back to the feds, or you can bring it back to the Children of Raxxla. The feds are saying bring it back to us because we need this information. They didn't specify.
To cover things up, yes.
Yeah, they didn't specify.
We need this information to
reason.
bury it.
Exactly. There's no mention or a specific reason that they need the data other than the fact that they need it. The Children of Raxxla, on the other hand, are saying that they need the data to free their leader because it's going to prove Salomé's innocence. So now, this was the part that I was a little confused on and what I didn't understand. And again, not knowing all of the lore, this is where I was like, okay, so how exactly does this data prove Salomé's innocence? So I think I had briefly asked that question to you earlier, Kron. Can you tell us what you think this data, or how you think this data could possibly prove Salomé's innocence, being a Children of Raxxla person?
Yeah. At the broadest scale, I think that we could make the claim for sure that once it's clear, or at least we could speculate that once it's clear what this data is telling us, and we have it, and the galactic citizens, I suppose, thereby have it, and the feds haven't buried it, then it may very well become obvious, why she has been essentially framed by the Empire. And of course, that's a pretty, broad way to look at it, without knowing the details of exactly what we're going to find there. And so it seems that, she had some, inside track, perhaps on these beacons or whatever the beacons are telling us about, and therefore, the Empire and perhaps the other superpowers wanted to, be able to essentially, take her out of play and, prevent her from sharing that with the galaxy at large, and perhaps, use this information for themselves.
Okay.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember reading somewhere that shortly before Salomé was arrested, she hacked into an Imperial data archive and found something.
Right. Yeah. Certainly, that seems to be the case. Another thing to consider, we know she was at Beagle Point, right?
Right.
Not that
Yeah,
long
we saw
ago.
that.
Yeah, that was,
We
that was a
actually-
pretty awesome
Yeah,
moment.
we
too.
saw that.
Yeah, so for anybody who was there, that was really cool. So then she's spotted again out in the Rift area, not too long after that time point. And then one of the next things we know is that she's hanging around Semi-S system, where she's actually, boarded and captured by the Empire. So, it's clear that she was exploring these very regions, it seems, shortly before she was actually captured.
Okay.
Right. And then
quick-
I just want to point out real quick before we move on that she did, as she was captured, she did get one last transmission out that in, the short version is that the Formidine Rift, the Conflux, and the and Hawkins Gap, where these beacons have been found, are connected with the happenings in the Pleiades. It was part of her transmission, and to let the Children of Raxxla know, and that they need to find out something before, and then the transmission cuts off.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we know all these places are connected.
Let's pause our thinking on this for a second. I'm noticing a couple of things in chat. Number one, as I saw,
Yeah.
someone had asked, hey, how do I join up with the Children of Raxxla?
How do
So
you join?
I think Shibuka, Turgeon will go ahead and put a link to their website in the chat. And their website has tons of information on who the Children of Raxxla are. There's, Discord information, a lot of information there for you to get involved and join up with them. Now, with that said, I also seen a couple people saying, there's so much going on and so many investigations that it's hard to keep up with it, and nobody knows what the hell's going on. So I do want to kind of point something out with this. This is true, okay? The story in Elite Dangerous is a lot deeper, richer. I'm not even sure what the right term would be. And if you're layered, right? And if you're not following, if you don't follow Galnet every single day and read the news, and this is something that I found out just from talking with Shibuki yesterday, because we were talking about this, and then he's like, well, in Galnet there was an article that mentioned this, and then there was another one. I was like, oh my god, I just realized, I don't read Galnet. Very, very rarely do I ever read Galnet. I'm so involved with the Brocast and doing the live streams and organizing events that I don't actually look at the story behind Elite Dangerous as a whole. And what occurred to me is that there is story being broadcast to every player. And all you need to do is read Galnet when you log in to the game. When you're on that login screen, most of these major articles are right there. And if you start to read them, then you'll start to get an understanding that all of these things kind of tie in together. For me, at first, I thought it was it was all random. That's what I thought. I thought it was players wrote some, and the rest is written by community. It's just to give sort of like a background story, but it's a lot more than that.
Yeah, Drew Wagar is actually authoring a lot of these Galnet articles that pertain to these mysteries going on.
So if you want to know more, there is a Galnet. The community website for Elite Dangerous has basically an archive of all the Galnet posts. And I'm not saying you should go back and start reading every single day, because there's tons in there, and I don't even think that would, it'd be possible to just go through them and start, piecing it all together. But what you could do is take 2 minutes when your game starts up and just start reading them from now on if you want to know more about the story and get a little bit more involved. That's really going to be the best thing to do, and I know that I'm going to start doing that as well, because the story is really interesting. So yes, there's a ton going on. Don't try to wrap your brain around all of it. Right now, we're talking about one aspect of it that ties in with multiple things, and there's some theories around this that we're going to talk about very, very shortly here, because I want to talk about these theories. But before we do, here's what we're going to do. Number one, Tikas is in the chat. Hey, Tikas, I wanted to give a shout out to Tikas, because I watched one of his videos on his YouTube the other day, and it was amazing. He's got a video up there. I love the way that it was edited. I love the way that he had the credits kind of like blended in like this 3D effect that we're like moving with the image. I don't know how you did that, man. It's amazing. I'm pretty sure it's like done with After Effects or something. But in my last video, I wanted to give him a shout out, but I was doing this video at like 3:30 in the morning, and I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it. I had written it in there. I was going to link the video in the YouTube channel. So this is now my opportunity for everyone who's in the channel to go check out Tikas's YouTube. He's in the chat. You could probably just click on his name and bookmark that for later on. Way to go, Tikas. Great ship launch fighters through the canyon video. I love that. That kind of inspired me. I was like, okay, you know what? I want to do that on the Brocast. So I think next week we might do a ship launch fighter canyon race.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a lot of fun. So make sure everyone's got some type of ship launch fighter capable ship for next weekend. Also, before we continue, we're coming up on the 1 hour mark here. I just want to take a moment to say welcome to everyone to the Brocast, and just to give you guys a quick breakdown of what you're participating in here. I see there's quite a few people watching right now. I'm sure there's some new people in here. So first of all, let me say welcome. My name's Commander Josh Hawkins. I'm joined by my two co-hosts, Shibuka.
Hello.
And Turgeon Starstone.
Good evening, all.
The three of us host the Brocast every Sunday. This is a live event or live show that we do every Sunday from 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. Eastern Time. We've been doing this for, I don't know, a long time now. When did we first start the Brocast? I mean, I'm pretty sure we're like
5 or 6 months ago, I think.
It must be something like that.
At least a half a year ago.
I think it was shortly before or after, around the time I got back from Eagle Point.
Yeah, so, I mean, a good 6 months we've been doing this now. C3 Geeky O joined the Hawk Vlog. Thanks for the sub.
That gives me a chance
Go ahead.
to play a new one for you.
Go for it.
Pluckety sizzle, Mr. Hawk. Nom nom, tastes like chicken.
Oh, dear Lord.
Turgeon runs our soundboard, and he's been putting these Kill the Hawk audio clips together. Every time someone subs, when that little hawk pops up, I think we've got a nice little hashtag, Kill the Hawk.
Frank says subscribe this, or he likes that one, right?
Subscribe this hawk. Well, don't worry.
Where is it? There we are.
I'm sure
Hey
we'll see.
Hawk, subscribe this.
That's Turkey Hawk, by the way.
Yeah.
So, as I was saying, the Brocast, this is a live event. We do this every Sunday. So please, if right now, if you're watching this and you're going, hey, you know what, we like this kind of stuff. You know, we like talking with commanders. We like the chat, the tinfoil hats, and of course, we do events as well. And we do events on a regular basis. Last week we did a mountain climbing event. We climbed to the top of Mount Neverest, which was pretty awesome. We've done all kinds of other events in the past, Sidewinder, demolition derbies. We're going to be doing some racing next weekend. We also have regular guests come on, like we have Commander Kron on right now from the Children of Raxxla, here to talk to us about the CG and the mysteries that are unfolding around this whole CG event. And we've had some other guests on the show in the past as well, bigger guests, smaller guests, and everyone in between. And the whole idea is to, bring you as much Elite Dangerous entertainment as possible. And sometimes it's not even Elite Dangerous. DK, thanks for joining the Hawk Block, and Potter's Revenge. Hopefully it stops screaming right there. Turgeon, you want to?
Oh, yes.
Say hello to my little friend.
It's so ridiculous.
Just one more for good measure, right?
Just one last burst.
Just one last one. So if you're enjoying this so far, like I was saying, go ahead and click that like button. That's what helps us out, of course, in getting more views. And if you enjoy it, hit subscribe so that you get notifications when we do more broadcasts. And sometimes we do shows on other stuff as well. So let's get back to the discussion. We're talking about the CGs in Elite Dangerous right now, the most recent ones that are sending commanders on pretty lengthy exploration journeys to go ahead and bring back data from 3 different parts of the galaxy. They're all roughly 10,000 light years, let's say, from Sol. The purpose of which is to either provide the Federation with this data or the Children of Raxxla, who claim that the data is going to be used to free their leader, Salomé, who has been taken captive. We don't know where she is exactly. Her last known whereabouts were in the Seamus system, and then she kind of disappeared after that. Now, we have theories as to what this is all about.
Doggy, do we have theories?
Yes, we have theories. Shibuka.
What's
shared...
that I can hear? I can hear rattling. It's Tinfoil Hat Man.
Oh yes, it is. Shibuka has...
I am the resident conspiracy theorist of the Brocast.
Uh-huh.
I need a sound for that, don't I? I'll come up with a sound effect for Tinfoil
Sounds
Hat
good to
Man.
me.
Yeah, you're going to need a tinfoil hat sound for sure, Turgeon,
Definitely.
because,
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, now there's another one. Delta Snake has joined the Hawk Vlog. Thanks for subbing in. I don't know, Turgeon, I'm leaving it open for you if you want to keep throwing them out there.
Oh, I'll put the new one on again.
Pluckety sizzle, Mr. Hawk. Nom nom, tastes like chicken.
So creepy.
It is creepy. I can imagine 6 months from now, Turgeon's going to have like 30 or 40 of those. So,
Oh, yes.
we're going to talk about theories now. Shibuka shared with me his theory last night, and I was pleasantly surprised to see that part of it, at least, a very small part of it, was something that I had already thought of, which was the decoding of the second line of the signal,
Yes.
which is the S6 ERP, and I think I just meant Expedition Rally Point.
Yep.
That's what Shibuka had said. I thought the exact same thing. I was like, okay, so, at least we're both on the same page, which means that probably many other people have thought of the same thing, and it seems like the logical definition or what's the word I'm looking for?
Anagram?
Anagram?
Interpretation.
Yeah, of that, whatever ERP could stand for.
Mm-hmm.
And Shibuka's taken that, well, Shibuka and Aramis
Yep.
have
me and
taken that to the next level. I mean, quite literally.
Yeah.
Several.
It's pretty.
levels
It's a
above.
pretty wild theory, but I feel like it's based. Okay. I'll give you a little backstory. So, when all this was coming about on Thursday, and all the codes started coming out and everything, it was really bothering me that we could pretty much understand everything that the code was saying except for the second line.
Mhm.
And it was bothering the crap out of me. And so Thursday played out. Come back Friday, we found multiple beacons in each sector. I think last time I saw there were 4 in Hawkins Gap and 4 in the Rift and 2 found in the Conflux. There might be more now. I haven't been following the past day or so. But that second line, I started looking at it more and more. And the fact that Hawkins Gap was 001 there at the end, and that Conflux was 002 and Formidine Rift was 003, I started looking at them like they were in order. It's the Dynasty Expedition. And I kind of looked at it like the way that Distant Worlds played out, the Distant Worlds Expedition. We had different waypoints. We had waypoint 1, waypoint 2, waypoint 3, all the way over to Beagle Point. So I was thinking, what if these areas are places expeditions dropped off at? And if you look at the rally points, like I said before, each rally point points to a landable planet in that system. And it's always the first or second set of landables in the system, which kind of led me to believe that these were pit stops for this expedition. This is where this expedition would stop, make sure everyone was caught up, make sure they didn't leave anybody behind, refit, refuel, relax for a little bit, and then keep on going.
I think what you're trying to say is this is where they stopped, collaborated, and listened, right?
ICE is back with a brand new invention. But anyway, so yes, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Just so general rallying.
General rallying, yes, that sort of thing. So that kind of dawned on me, and Aramis is another of the Children of Raxxla's consul, and he was actually him and Dr. Kai were the organizers of Distant Worlds expedition. So I messaged Aramis and I told him about this theory. And for those of you who don't know, Aramis is the person behind the galactic mapping thread, and it basically named all of the so many parts of the galaxy, and that's what FDev actually used for the names Hawkins Gap, the Conflux, and the area of the Formidine Rift. That was all from the brain of Aramis.
Yeah, it was not actually named after me, unfortunately.
No, it's not.
As Elite goes, Aramis is the explorer.
Yes, he is.
Essentially, if you want to say he's the
Well, he was the first one to make it to Beagle Point.
Yep.
Yeah, that's why it's Beagle Point.
And Distant,
he named it.
And Distant Worlds was basically founded on the fact that people would follow in Aramis's footsteps to recreate the expedition that he went on. So, and this was, if you're not familiar with Distant Worlds, I mean, if you're new to Elite Dangerous, let's just give a little history here, because Distant Worlds was basically 1 year ago. Well, a little bit less than a year ago. I think Distant Worlds left in December, or was it early January?
It was mid to late December or early January. I can't remember. I think it was early January.
I think
right when Horizons dropped, right? Because that was the whole thing.
Yeah,
it's got to be early January, because I left just before Distant Worlds on my exploration journey, which was I literally left on Christmas Day. It was like December 24th.
Shibuka, you should have a look at your first video, man. It's got the date on it.
Yeah, Shibuka.
This is true.
Covered the whole Distant Worlds expedition. He was basically
he was the reporter,
the documenter, and the deep thoughts behind Distant Worlds. Following the journey,
the philosopher,
talking about what's going on, the different events that they held, and did a fantastic job at it. That's how Shibuka and I kind of ended up meeting, as I was watching his videos of Distant Worlds, because I wanted to go on Distant Worlds, but I had kind of just set off on my own expedition beforehand, and didn't want to be limited by a schedule and following along with other people when I knew that wasn't going to work for me. And then Shibuka and I kind of met up as he was coming back from Distant... No, you were still going to Distant Worlds when
at
we
that
first
point,
started talking.
he was...
Yeah, it was
still
we
on his
met up
way,
as I was coming back.
Yeah. So, Aramis is basically one of the organizers of Distant Worlds, which was based on his original trip across the galaxy. And he has mapped, well, pretty much all the galaxy. Evilly 666999. Thanks for joining the Hawkfly.
I not shoot this time. We're talking serious.
Shoot. Would you like me to pull up one of the maps, Shibuka?
We'll hold off on that for a second.
Okay.
Yeah, get back to your Dynasty S6 theory.
Yes. So, before I talking to Aramis about this, one thing that did jump out to me is S6. S6 is kind of still the only anomaly in that line that I don't 100% understand. But if you remember, if you follow Galnet at all, there was an article.
I have the link to it.
There you go. Link that article.
Nice.
There was a Diamondback Explorer that dropped in next to Obsidian Orbital, which is in the Pleiades. And several eyewitness accounts said that it flew around the station and looked like it was scanning it. And then it just jumped away. It was very mysterious. It's kind of like a little bookmark, a little side note. Didn't get a whole lot of attention, but the name of the ship, you target somebody in the game, you get their commander name. When people targeted the ship, what came up was the ship registration of S6:7. So that kind of leads me to believe that, this S6, I feel like that's a little too coincidental not to be connected somehow. So I feel like this Diamondback Explorer scanning Obsidian Orbital is connected.
That is the
So-
rattling of tinfoil you hear in the background, of course.
Yes, it is, and it's you can also hear the truth in there somewhere. But anyway, so I contacted Aramis about the 001, 2, and 3, and I was talking to him, and Aramis has basically mapped out the entire galaxy, and I feel like the man has memorized every damn permit lock system in the entire galaxy. So he goes, well, what's right past Hawkins Gap? Like, if you're going to Hawkins Gap from the bubble, what's right past it is the dry sector. It's also a dog.
Second.
That's our fourth co-host.
The
Yes.
dog sector, yes.
The dog sector, yes. But the dry man sector, it's permit locked. It's a couple thousand light years away from Hawkins Gap. And if you want to look at it in order, like starting at Hawkins Gap, going to the Conflux, then going to the Rift, like this expedition looks like it was doing, a good starting spot for them to be would be the dry man sector. And then past Formidine Rift is like Kron was saying earlier about the Bovomit sector. It's permit locked, and if you can go ahead and put this map up now if you want to, Josh.
Did you call it the Bovomit sector?
Bovomit, Bovomit,
He
however you want to
did,
pronounce it.
but it
Vomit.
is spelt like that.
It is
Vomit
spelled
is
like
in
that.
the
I
name.
say Bovomit sounds a
Unfortunately.
little better. Bovomit just sounds wrong. I don't think
I
we
will
should
refer to
does,
it as
doesn't
Bovomit from now
Yeah,
on,
let-
just for you.
Let's go with Bovomit because
Bovomit.
I see Bovomit going in
Like
a completely wrong
Boba
direction.
Fett, you know.
You can't feed us Bovomit and not expect me to say something about it.
Oh dear Lord. Anyway, so just go ahead and put that map up. So if you look at this map,
Oh, here, wait, this way. There you go. That's the one.
if you look at this map and you look at it as the journey of an expedition, perhaps even the exodus of a certain entity or entities, you'll notice that they're going from the dry man sector to Bovomit, and they're going around the human bubble. Like, they don't want to let us know that they're coming through, or they don't want to disturb us. They don't want to alarm us. They want nothing to do with us. They're going around us. Which got me thinking, like, who would want to avoid humanity? And then you also have to consider that these beacons we've been finding, it's human technology. It's our satellites. They're broadcasting in English and using a cipher that is of the human mind. So they have to have some kind of human origin. And I was talking to Aramis about this, and we were kind of throwing things around, and he goes, well, a lot of these permit locked sectors have procedurally generated names. Like, they're completely random. And he goes, it always bothered me that Dry Man was not a procedurally generated name. And we were kind of thinking about that a little bit, and then Aramis brings up the fact that, something that part of the lore that not a lot of people know about and doesn't get a lot of attention was, as Turgeon knows, AI was banned 200 to 300 years ago.
I
And
do only too well.
there's a rumor that when AI was banned, a group of them hopped on a ship and left the bubble. So there's allegedly rogue AI out in the galaxy, and this is canon. So when we were talking about that and looking at Dry Man, it dawned on me. If you think about an AI or an android, it's a dry man. I mean, what makes us wet as humans? It's blood, it's the water in our veins, it's our organs, it's our brain tissue. Dry man, to me, is a wink
Spooky.
at androids or AI as like the AI
some
home
mysterious
sector,
music,
home
yeah.
system.
Get some
Right.
mysterious music for that, yeah.
They should have the X-Files
Oh
theme.
yeah,
But
that's a very good theory. I
yeah,
like
I
this
like
theory.
it, and
Mhm.
it's interesting because if we are dealing with rogue AI, they would circumvent the bubble. They would not come near us. They're banned. They're illegal. They want nothing to do with us. They are our rebellious teenagers that we've disowned because, you know, we're too strict or conservative or what have you.
Oh my god, you can't be serious.
I'm
Yeah,
totally
thanks, Kaz.
serious, Kaz. I appreciate your input there. But, I mean, if you look at it, it's Dynasty Expedition. I mean, I feel like AIs would be part of almost our dynasty or our legend, or maybe they pass
They may
down
have their
you know,
own groups and or something to their that may be that they're referring to themselves as dynasty.
Right. And then
Mm.
if you look at Exodus, you know, Exodus was the cipher word used. There was a mass exodus. It could be representative of the AI leaving the bubble as an exodus, trying to escape, or it could mean, if it is AIs in Dry Man, an exodus away from their home system because something happened. I mean, it's not a it's. I feel like it's a solid theory, but it's all circumstantial. It's all, you know,
It also,
theory, but it checks off all the boxes.
well, yeah,
Yeah.
including the fact that it says node or mode standby at the end.
Right.
Who would say that other than AIs to each other? I mean, it's
Right.
no good for us.
The path that they took, and at least the path that you guys have
And
mapped
this
out
is,
here.
yeah, this is a map that Aramis drew up. Aramis, if you're listening, you are a god amongst men.
A map god, cartography god.
Exploration god.
So let's look at this map for a second, and I just kind of want to reiterate what Shibuka was just saying. Oh wow, sorry. I also got a gorgeous view here with this giant orange star in the background, which I'm gonna put as the backdrop here. Let's go like that. There we go. Okay, so if we look at the map, you've got the Dry Man sector up in the top right, going to Expedition Point 1, then Expedition Point 2, and you can see that they're following that arm, the Scutum Sagittarius arm right there. And then at Conflux, they drop down to Formidine Rift, bypassing the human bubble entirely. And then they continue along the next spiral arm to get to Bovomit.
Yeah,
Right.
and one thing I did forget to mention is that anyone who's been to that outer arm knows how difficult it is to cross the Formidine Rift.
Oh, it
And
is. yeah.
there's a very famous area where you can do it called the Heisenberg Bridge. And it's just on the other side of the Heart and Soul Nebula, which is where the EFOTS sector is, which is where the beacons were found that were labeled as the Formidine Rift. And that path that map shows, if they went from EFOTS to Bovomit, that map makes it look like they used the Heisenberg Bridge,
Right.
which is
if
very
they were
telling
at
to
that
me.
point for number 3, that's really the way to do it.
Exactly, and which tells you why they didn't go from a straight line from the Conflux to Bovomit, if that is indeed the route that they traveled.
Now,
Yeah, because you pretty much can't do that unless, you know, at least with standard FSD technology.
Right. Non-engineered, it's borderline impossible to do it anywhere but from the Heisenberg Bridge.
do you want to talk about that, what you just said there, standard FSD technology? Do you want to
Yes.
talk about the
Yeah,
other part of the theory?
We'll get deep. So,
How deep? Are you mad tinfoil deep?
oh, I've been there.
Go deep.
Wicked mad.
Go deep.
Yeah.
Go
That's
deep.
me.
I can,
My
I
tinfoil.
can hear his tinfoil rattling. Yeah.
There you go. But if you want to follow the rogue AI theory, they left, we'll say 200 years ago. 200 years ago, our FSD technology allowed us to jump 7 to 15 light years, if we're being generous. So they couldn't cross vast distances very quickly. There's a couple things to keep in mind here. One of them is that if you've read Reclamation, a big thing, at least in the beginning of Reclamation, is the concept of misjumps. They're not in the game right now, but the premise
Anyone
of
that's
misjumps
played
were...
Frontier 2 and knows about misjumps.
Yeah, they're not in Elite Dangerous. But misjumps were basically if you didn't have complete control of your ship, you were spinning out of control or something, or you didn't have a star system selected when you activated your FSD, you could end up anywhere.
Or if you were in a space station trying to jump to Beagle Point, Mr. Jax.
Exactly. There's you a misjump right there. And well, that's not canon. I won't get into that. But anyway, so, Turgeon, are you going to keep doing that while I'm talking?
That wasn't me. For a change. That wasn't actually me.
No, but you have to think about that.
I think it was me. My bad.
There's a lot of tinfoil,
Your tinfoil
in this
too.
chat
Yeah,
right now.
a lot of tinfoil.
But if you think about it, if you're rogue AI and you're trying to escape, you're trying to get away from humans because you're illegal, you're going to be destroyed, you need to get as far away as fast as possible. What better way to do that than to purposefully misjump?
Yeah, you press the Alt key when you're in which space and the original Elite, force a misjump.
Yep.
I think that's what it was. I can't remember. But yeah, you could force a misjump.
Yeah, you've got that theory, and then something came up. I think it was Friday evening. A Galnet article was released that it was talking about a company called MetaDrive. MetaDrive, for a long time, has been researching secret FSD technologies. We don't know really what all that's about, what kind of technologies they're researching, but the company went under, and it was bought by a company called Sirius. Sirius Corp is very shady. It's thought that they're working with the feds to cover everything up. So they play into these mysteries somehow.
Yeah,
So-
they're working with and have tie-ins to everybody, and of course, a big part of that is that they're essentially a monopoly producer of frameshift technology.
Yes, thank you, Kron.
No problem.
But if you want to follow that route, so a Galnet article came out Friday evening about formerly MetaDrive,
link in
now owned
chat.
by Sirius. Do what?
Linky link in chat for people.
Oh, yes.
It's
So-
already there.
The Galnet article basically says that Rand Corson, who has been in Galnet a couple times, stole some documents from MetaDrive. And it's believed that he crashed in the Alioth system, and that he had in his possession something known as the Exodus documents when he crashed, which is huge because the word
There's that
Exodus,
word again.
the word
Oh, yes.
Exodus is
Yep.
not a popular word in Elite Dangerous.
Right, yeah, I don't
You have
recall
it
seeing
pop
it
up twice.
ever before this.
Yeah, if you see it pop up twice in 3 days, those things are connected.
Mm-hmm.
That
So-
doesn't need tinfoil.
That doesn't need
No tinfoil involved.
That's just
So-
regular brain.
So
Yeah.
I know the Children of Raxxla are searching Alioth, trying to find a crashed Imperial Eagle, because it's thought that these Exodus documents may hold the coordinates to whatever Salomé has found, because Salomé knows something. That's why she was allegedly framed for this alleged assassination attempt. That's why they've got her under lock and key. That's why they're sending her to Kuntz prison, I think it is.
Kuntz Asylum. It is
Kuntz
actually,
Asylum.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a like awful freaking prison that is basically a death sentence. But I mean, she knows something, and I'm guessing this is from when she accessed those Imperial data servers and found something.
Yeah.
So-
and this is why, like, Earth Defense Fleet and some of these Fed guys are actually working with us on this one because, we want to know what she knows. And get her back.
Exactly. This I feel like people looking at this community goal see it as the Feds versus the Children of Raxxla. And I feel like they're getting it completely wrong. This is not about superpowers. This is not about the superpower you are behind, that you
Yeah.
support. This is about,
It's
And
the
I
exact
know-
opposite of superpowers. It's about
know it's-
freedom
I-
of information. The little people, the single
Exactly, I
pilot.
know-
That's what Elite's
it's
all
just-
about.
it's just a game, guys. I know this, but you have to think about the story. I mean, this is about government conspiracies and cover-ups and keeping the truth from us because they feel like they can either use that to protect themselves or they're trying to protect themselves from us knowing something about them. Like, we deserve to know the truth. And I don't care if you support the Federation, the Empire, the Alliance, whatever. I feel like you owe it to yourself, you owe it to your fellow commanders to support the Children of Raxxla so we can figure out what is going on. Because
Yeah, why
we
should
deserve
these
answers.
superpowers have all the information? You know,
Exactly,
we
they're-
want the information. They
But on
shouldn't
the
have
other
the information.
hand, don't feel obligated. Okay, we're not we're not trying to force your decisions here. If you feel like
No,
you
this
want
is
to support
all
the
opinion.
feds,
Well, you can
then
say that,
all
Josh.
opinion.
I can say that. I mean, listen, Commander
might be
Josh
trying to
Hawkins is
push
a federal man. Okay, I just want to put that out there. I mean, I'm trying to stay by nonpartisan on this, but Commander Josh Hawkins, the character in my exploration series, is a Federation man. Okay, as a player, I traded a lot of Imperial slaves. So
Yeah. Well,
and the Children of Raxxla are kind of leaned a little bit more towards the Empire.
Well,
So
Commander Turjan in my stories essentially is on the run from his own corporation. So he's not a fan of big organizations in general. And the bigger the organization, the less in favor of it he is. So I think you can tell where his allegiances are going to be in this one.
yeah, and I feel like this isn't like. I feel like we shouldn't feel a responsibility towards our superpowers. Like, I'm going to use a real life example here. I'm an American.
no.
No. I'm just going to say this. I'm just going to say this. I'm not getting political. But all I'm saying is I'm an American. That does not mean I need to support what my superpower is doing. That does not mean that I owe it to my superpower to completely throw myself behind them 100%.
Yeah, in every context,
Hmm.
a person's got that freedom to, day to day and context to context, think about what's really the right way to go.
Right. And I feel like you need to approach this community goal and this story from the perspective of not only what is the right thing to do and not only what's going to advance the story, but I'm getting a little sentimental. You need to follow your heart, guys. And you can laugh, but I'm being serious.
But just remember, we have. I mean, look, we got Commander Kron on here right now. Kron is a representative of Children of Raxxla. Thank you very much for joining us on this, Kron, and sharing your thoughts and sharing your ideas with us, of course. And please keep in mind that I am in no way saying there's anything wrong with supporting Children of Raxxla. I think that what the Children of Raxxla are doing is just equally as important as what the feds are doing. But for the players, not many people know who the Children of Raxxla are. And what we do know, and I have to speak from my perspective, because before I met you, before Shabuk and I discussed these theories, I did not know who the Children of Raxxla were. All I knew is that they had a slight Imperial alignment, and from someone who does not follow the story, you could say that the leader of the Children of Raxxla is actually accused of assassination. So there is some reason to doubt whether or not that is the right choice. This is why I'm saying, people have to make their own decisions, because either way you go, folks, this story is going to play out. Okay? Don't feel obligated one way or another to support the feds or to support the Children of Raxxla. You do what you feel you want to do. This is your story at the end of the day. And although I would really like to see how the richer story, which I'm going to say is the Children of Raxxla, that is the richer of the two stories by far. I would like to see how that one plays out, and if I was there and able to participate, I would certainly support them. If you have been supporting the Federation as a player this whole time, maybe you might want to see how that plays out, because there is some interesting ideas here. I think the majority of people are going to go for Children of Raxxla, but what happens if they don't? What happens if people start turning into the feds all this discovery data?
Basically, we don't find anything out.
But I
think that's actually a big part of it.
You think
Yeah, I
so?
feel like it's going to be. I feel like, and this is just how I see the story going. If the feds win, okay, no, I'll start with this. If the Children of Raxxla win, I feel like we will be supplied with correct information and I won't say all at once, but it will be a much smoother transition into the story. I feel like if the feds win, we will be trickled freaking pennies of the story.
Wading through treacle is what we'll be doing.
The story will unfold. Undoubtedly, I feel like both community goals, both of the
Either way it'll unfold. It's just
a matter of how comfortable it's going to be.
Yeah, it's
it's the opportunity for us and the players to show, hey, we're invested in, the story and potentially this players group who is involved in it, and also to take the energy and effort to go and get some background information, because at first glance, if you just read the Galnets, you're going to think, hey, Children of Raxxla, they've said they're terrorists, right? So that's all I know, and I'm going to support the feds because they're quote unquote the good guys. But that's what's great about having this opportunity to come on here and talk about a lot of what's been going on behind the scenes, and what are our real interests, and it's often not at all the same as what you read in the front page Galnet.
Exactly, and I feel like especially. Oh, go ahead.
I want to say that on the video that I had put out, at the end of the video, I did ask people, I said, who would you side with? Would you side with the feds, or would you side with the Children of Raxxla? The overall consensus seems to be that people do want to support the Children of Raxxla because they believe that that's the right thing to do. But since we have Kron on, Kron, tell us, for the people that don't know anything about the Children of Raxxla, why should we support the Children of Raxxla? Aside from saying, well, we'll give the truth, because both sides are going to say, well, we're going to give you the truth, Why should people support the Children of Raxxla? Why should they back your cause? Give us the Children of Raxxla recruiting pitch.
Yeah, sure. So, I think the issue of sort of impartial, independent third party is at the root of a lot of it. When you say we have a slight Empire alignment, I think we only have as much of an Imperial alignment as Salomé does, which is not a lot. She's proud of her family heritage and sort of more traditional Imperial values in a lot of ways, but she is not really politically aligned with the Empire power establishment, and neither are we. And that's one of the reasons we welcome players from any superpower affiliations, because that's really not a strong element of our group or what we're attempting to do. What is an underlying principle is related to the mysteries, the stories of the Rift, Conflux, etc. We want to find out what's out there that's apparently so powerful or so concerning. We want to get that information for sort of just the average citizen of the galaxy, versus letting one of the superpowers beat us to it, and then hope that they don't cave to the temptation to maybe use it to gain a military advantage. We could be looking at a full-on war if, for example, the feds end up with some advanced technology and the Empire does it. What's going to happen there? We're already seeing a lot of tensions between the superpowers. So I think that would be sort of at the crux of my pitch, would be, help out an independent third party that, despite what you read sometimes in the news, really wants to stay abreast of these things in the interest of making sure the galaxy is a good and safe place where people aren't subjected to authoritarianism.
And I mean, as far as the Children of Raxxla not being Imperial aligned, how involved with the Imperials are you guys really, though? Because Salomé has Imperial alignment, correct?
Yeah, but she's currently in prison thanks to the Imperials.
Yeah, the Empire is the one that's charging her with attempted assassination.
Oh,
yeah, so there's not a lot of love there.
Yeah. If you look at, I'm not sure, Turgeon, if you can find Salomé's final broadcast before she was arrested. But she does.
I'll give it a go.
Okay. She does mention that the ships attacking had Imperial markings on them, and she calls them traitors. and I know from what I've read, the 24-page PDF on Children of Raxxla's website is a really good read. It kind of gives you a sense of where Salomé stands as far as politics go and everything. But like Kron says, she's a fan of the old Imperial values. She doesn't like where the Empire is headed. Because if you look at the Galnet news stories and everything, there's so much manipulation going on right now with all of the superpowers, the Alliance included. Like, everyone is playing the shadowy game of who's going to end up being the most powerful power and who is going to wield that power for their own benefit. And I feel like the what's the word I'm looking for? The idea I get from Salomé is that she wants to kind of have an even playing field, like just have everyone have it as peaceful as possible. Because I mean, we're humans; we're not going to be peaceful, but a level playing field with checks and balances. She wants like the ideal bubble.
So is Salomé like the Bernie Sanders of Elite Dangerous?
I would not say that. I don't think Bernie Sanders would disembowel somebody with a sword, but that would be an interesting thing to see.
Fair enough. So Salomé disemboweled someone with a sword?
Yes.
Wow. I don't know. That might change my thinking of that type of leadership.
Well, I mean, it's like the Children of Raxxla with their messages on their website. I mean, they stand for, you know, unveiling the lies and everything that we've been being told and everything, but they're not afraid of using force in order to advance that ideology.
Right.
If I can talk.
Right. Yeah, sometimes, unfortunate, though it is, you run out of options. And her disemboweling, was certainly not a leadership type of decision. It was more of a, situation she was in last resort. We won't ruin that scene in Drew's book, but it's a good one.
Okay. Let's take a quick moment. We're an hour and a half. We're halfway through the Brocast right now, folks. So I'm just going to take a quick minute and do the normal round of introductions once again for anyone who's just joining in. Welcome to the Brocast. You've joined into a live show that we do every single Sunday from 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm your host, Commander Josh Hawkins, joined by my two co-hosts, Shibuka.
Tinfoil for the win.
Tinfoil Hat Shibuka. And Commander Turgeon Starstone.
Ingerland.
We are also joined by our featured guest, Commander Confromgalvatron. Kron?
Oh, yeah, thank you very much. I'm really glad to be here. This has been fun.
Yeah, and it's been great having you on. We'll see how much longer we're going to be able to wrap our heads around these theories, but there's still a lot more to talk about. Kron is from the Children of Raxxla. He's come on to talk to us about some of the theories revolving or surrounding the community goals that are currently going on. There's so much stuff going on in Elite Dangerous, and I've seen in the chat people have been saying, oh, there's a lot going on, and how do you follow this? Realistically, there is a lot going on, but that's an interesting thing to think about. With so much going on, the universe could literally explode at any moment with aliens, androids, and who else knows what, simultaneously. What was 2.3 is the commanders. We know that 2.3 is going to be multi-crew, and 2.4 is the mystery patch. It's very possible that when 2.4 hits, we could see a mass introduction of multiple different AI governments. We could have artificial
There's going to be
intelligence.
some changes.
We can have Thargoids.
Yeah.
We don't know. There's so
yeah,
many
it could be
different
very, very exciting.
I mean, if Frontier is going to introduce a row or an AI element to the game, why not introduce a couple at the same time? I mean, no reason to think that they can't do it. In fact, I think it would make a lot more sense, that holy trinity of, three superpowers. In every game that I've ever played, any good game at least, the best ones are when you have three factions. And we have the same three factions within the bubble. We've got the Federation, the Alliance, and the Independents. And now we could potentially have the Federation, or the human bubble, the humanity, let's call it, and then possibly the AI, this artificial intelligence, which is part of the theory that Shibuka and Kron have been discussing with us, and then maybe Thargoids, maybe aliens, some other type of aliens. I mean, look, we've got the ruins right now in Elite Dangerous, which are still a huge mystery, and commanders are scrambling, and I know Canon is going nonstop trying to figure them out, and I'm sure there's plenty of other people that have got their theories about what's going on with the ruins as well. Do you guys think that there is any possible tie-in of these ruins as well to this story, this exodus or this expedition?
I have no concrete facts, but my deep suspicion is that every mystery in the game right now is connected.
All right.
100%.
Yeah, maybe distinguished by levels of directness, in terms of, is it the same species or something, maybe not. But yeah, I think we're going to find a lot of tie-ins as we start to build storylines with, for example, Rogue AI, whoever left these ruins. There's bound to be some overlap there, I think.
Well, I was talking to Shibuka about it last night, and he was saying, 200 years ago is when the AI were kind of banished from the bubble. And I said, well, is it possible that maybe these ruins could be like some type of leftover of one of their settlements or something? And he's saying, no, they look a little bit too old. Well, I think
they do look very old.
They do look very old. They look like they were partially destroyed. But I mean, like, how long ago something was destroyed? On
an atmosphereless world, you just can't. You can't tell. You've got meteor impacts that are from like 4 billion years ago.
Now, if you want an interesting theory on why there is no sand or dust on all of that, you can go check out Turgeon's new video.
Oh, yes.
Yes, I have an interesting theory.
Which is amazing, by the way.
Yeah, it was a great episode.
Absolutely fantastic episode. And Turgeon, just please put a link in there to that episode. This view, by the way, is incredible. I've never seen such a tiny little star next to such a huge star. I'm like so close to it right now.
I'm watching that. I've not seen that either.
Yeah, it's really close.
Crazy.
But yeah, go check out Turgeon's travels. And I mean, if you're new to the Brocast, if you're not familiar with Turgeon or Shibuka or myself, and you've just come here because you said, hey, you know what, I heard that Children of Raxxla are going to be on here, Kron's going to be on here. Maybe you're a part of the Children of Raxxla, excuse me. Turgeon is a YouTube all three of us are YouTube content creators. Turgeon creates a series called Turgeon's Travels, which is a fantastic series following the story of Commander Turgeon Starstone as he is traveling across the galaxy and right now currently making his way back towards the bubble.
With his misfit crew of, well, God knows.
Yeah, he's got some AI of his own on the ship, which you'll have to watch to really understand and appreciate what those AI do and their different personalities. Oh, jeez, I am not
roasting
in a good place right now.
This is fine. Get out of there.
This is fine.
That looks like it could be getting a little warm.
Yeah. Okay.
That's awesome.
Not good.
Totally.
Taking hull damage.
Oh, not again. Get out of there, man.
God, I'm trying. I gotta shut down some stuff here. Why do I do this to myself?
Jeez.
Why do I always do this?
If you explode before getting back to the bubble, Josh.
Well, we're at 46% hull, 44%
Oh,
hull.
no!
43% hull, 42% hull. What is going on? Get away!
Jesus, Josh, get out of there!
Heat's dropping. Heat's dropping.
Oh my god. You better check your power plant. I don't know how you're laughing right now. You must be laughing to keep yourself from crying.
Oh, okay.
Ouch.
This is
This is your
fine.
exploration
This is
account, right?
fine.
This is your main account.
Oh yeah, this is
Right, I think this was your last exploring the Milky Way galaxy. I think home is the next logical option for this.
I would hope so.
Let's see how that just affected me. This is why I'm looking at that. I'm like, hey, let's go fly between the giant star and the little star. That looks really close. And let's go into external camera. That's a great idea. 73% power plant. Power plant didn't take too much damage. It's just the hull. And the hull, I mean, that's fine. I don't crash into things anymore. It's only from heat damage, which I'm going to try not to do that ever again.
Yeah, you're closer to Colonia than anything else, aren't you? Or one of the outposts?
Yeah, I'm just kind of on the
One
other
of
side
the pit stop outposts.
the core. I may make a pit stop to Colonia.
I think so.
Might be a good idea. I took damage for a good bit there. I didn't expect so much of my hull to melt right off.
Yeah, well, when you get up to about 153% heat, your hull starts going.
Takes a little while.
Well, so I understand it. You know, I never actually got hull damage when I was from heat. All the time I've been exploring.
Just to put this
me
in,
neither.
Just to put this.
I don't
into
have heat sinks.
For the people that are watching this and going, oh, geez, he just took a lot of damage. Matthew Whalen, it's like, I gotta see more of that. Thanks for subbing.
Are you entertained?
Yeah, are you entertained?
Are you entertained?
I die for you. I am carrying pretty much a year's worth of exploration data on this ship right now. So it would be a big shame to die.
I would never play this game again.
You're carrying an elite's worth of exploration data there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you'll definitely be elite when you get back.
Yeah, when I get back, I do expect
Probably
that to go from Trailblazer to Elite.
Yeah, you'll probably have 100 million in exploration data.
If
At the
I make
very
it back.
least.
If I make it back.
Head to Colonia.
That was a decent amount of damage I just took there. That's the most damage I've ever taken in
The most ever, yes.
Actually,
Well,
it's getting
interesting.
worse.
No, I did take.
Heat is modeled, in a reasonable way.
I did take a little bit more damage than that one time when I was flying around on the surface of a planet and accidentally turned through a canyon and then boosted and then just kind of ricocheted off the side of the canyon wall and lost my shields and took about 30 or 40% hull damage. Yeah, that was the first and last time that would ever happen. I mean, I still go flying down in canyons, but not quite as tight and dangerously as I was doing there. I forgot the asp is not an eagle, and I was flying through this canyon like a daredevil going, hey, this is great, it's so much fun. And I was down there for a while, too, 20 minutes or so flying through that canyon. The whole thing, I thought I was recording, and that's the reason why I was doing it. I was like, I'm just going to show off my special flying skills, flying through this canyon. Didn't realize that my shadow play was recording my second monitor and just got desktop the whole time. So I didn't even get it.
Oh, man.
Reaction, though.
Yeah, it was a little
Andy K says that Polo Harbour is your nearest station, one of the outposts, the Colonia pit stops. What do they call them? The Colonia
Outpost?
highway stops.
Well, you know what? Let's take a look and just see how far
motorway
we are
service
from Colonia.
stations. To me,
Let's see how
Yeah,
far
petrol
we are
stations.
from Colonia.
yeah, motorway service stations. They're truck stops. To you.
All right, so Colonia. Well, here, look, someone's here actually. Who's this? We got Commander Gobari Noah. I don't know if he's watching the broadcast right now, but that's 15.8 thousand light years. Actually, it is. It's closer to me than the bubble is right now. The bubble is still 25 or 26,000 light years away. This is where we are right here. There's Colonia over here, and there's the bubble over there. So I am moving in this direction. I mean...
hang on. Which nebula are you in?
You're in open right now, right, Josh?
Oh, I'm in open, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you are in the core.
Probably shouldn't be. At this stage. with
Oh,
that
yeah.
much data.
I like being in open. I trust
Yeah,
the
but
community.
You what?
you've got hundreds of people out there that want to shoot the hawk.
Yeah, but hey,
It's gonna take them a minute to
No,
get to you.
whether that means literally.
yeah, it's gonna take them a little while to get to me. That's very true. And also,
Possibly,
second of
possibly.
all, I trust the bros implicitly. Everyone in the Brocast. I mean, if anyone actually wants to come out and shoot me, I mean,
Yeah,
hey,
they come here.
come out and shoot me.
You
alright.
haven't
They-
had the
they
same experience as I have, Josh. No offense to the
They come
bros or
to me.
anything, but I don't trust you.
Well, that's the difference between you and me, Shibuka. I trust the
You
bros.
haven't been blown up by at least half of them.
I no, because the only person who's ever tried to blow me up is you.
Well, that wasn't on your main account.
True,
Mhm.
but still, just saying. None of the bros have ever tried to blow me up, and I don't think that they want to. I think that they're all rooting for me. In fact, I would say that when I got back to the bubble, I would even have the bros come and escort me back to wherever it is that I would be going. I don't even know where I'm going. But I do trust the bros, and I play in open because I'm part of this community. The only time we do the private groups or as solo is if I'm absolutely trying to get something that requires me to be in solo or private group. Other than that, I'm always in open. I've always played in open. Oh, look, another beautiful view here. Let's try not to blow my ship up on this one, mind you. So, aside from that slightly adrenaline rush, heart-pounding, almost blowing up of my ship right there between the little star and the giant star, let's get back to talking. Oh, we were talking about our channels. That's what we were saying before I carelessly almost melted my ship into oblivion. So Turgeon's channel is. Oh, hang on one second. Tony Jackson, you really never played Eve, did you, Josh? Actually,
Yes, you really
I
played Eve.
I played Eve for 2 years, and Eve
Yeah.
was. I mean, yes, Eve is very different. You don't have separate instances in Eve. If you're in a system and someone jumps in, you see them. It's plain and simple. So Eve was a little bit more dangerous than Elite. But Eve was a great game. In fact, they've gone free to play now, which has got me wondering if I want to even go check out my character and see where that guy is still. And
Do you know, I wouldn't go back there even now that it's free to play.
they've
have to say.
added so many new things into it now. They have a first-person view. Even though it plays the same, you don't fly your ship like you do in
Yeah,
Dangerous.
the avatar walking around thing that post dates when I played it, so that would be interesting to see. But you couldn't really. They'd have to pay me to get me to come back to it.
Yeah.
Actually.
It's
Yeah, I've never played it. It looks cool, but I also would be afraid to get sucked into another,
Yeah.
space sim, which is probably not what I need, given how much
well,
I'm in Elite. Dangerous.
That's the reason why I'm not going to go play it, because as you guys have seen on previous broadcasts, we've had Osiris New Dawn, No Man's Sky. It's at the end of the day, there's just very little time to dedicate to so many different games, and I think Osiris is a great game, and I just actually updated it with the patch, Turgeon. So maybe we can do another Osiris New Dawn.
Patch. I haven't checked it recently.
Well, I think that might have been the big patch from the last time.
Oh right, yeah.
But there might have been another patch in between. I mean, it seems like it's been enough time for them to have released another patch. It's a game that's in early access, so there's a lot of stuff that's changing in there on a regular basis. But anyhow, I continue to digress. I wanted to talk about our channels just for a second for the people that are new here and wondering what we do and who we are. I will. Let's start with Shibuka. Shibuka, why don't you tell the people, the audience, give them a little breakdown who you are, how you got started in Elite, what your channel's all about, so they can know what to expect when they go take a look.
Okay. Well, as far as getting started in Elite, I was actually not interested in space sims at all, and then I learned about No Man's Sky. And I was like, oh, this game is going to be so amazing. I can't wait 2 years for it. And a buddy of mine was like, why don't you just play Elite Dangerous? And I was like, what the hell is that? So I bought it and played it and fell in love, and the rest is history, and No Man's Sky sucked. And then I got sucked into the Distant Worlds expedition, which is when I really started doing YouTube. Cataloged all of that, my trip all the way to Beagle Point, and then my trip home. After that, I started a series called Legacy that ties into Josh Hawkins' Exploring the Milky Way Galaxy story series. That also has a connection with Turgeon's Travels. So it's kind of an interweaving of all three of our stories kind of together. My series actually follows a villain, which is kind of interesting, that I've really enjoyed doing. Still waiting to do the finale of Legacy, because Josh hasn't released his last episode of Exploring the Milky Way Galaxy, and I have to wait for that before I release mine.
Yeah, I've been
Fine
slacking.
wine, though, isn't it? It's like
It's
a
like
fine
what?
wine.
A fine
wine.
wine.
It matures, you know. It's
Yeah,
better for
but
the wait.
the story's actually changed a lot in the time that I've had to wait for Josh. Maybe we'll have multi-crew and aliens by the time I get to write and film the finale of Legacy. Going by how long it's taken Josh so far.
I just want to say I've taken on multiple other projects at the same time, so it's one of the reasons why it's kind of got backburnered, is because you know, running the live streams and the show, and with all the developments that have been in the game, it's hard to dedicate the time to writing these episodes, which literally take days to write.
You know what I'm hearing, Josh?
Blah 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 blah. Excuses.
Excuses.
Well, I got to come up with something.
That's basically me. I mean, Legacy has really been. Distant Worlds is more of a documentary series. Legacy is very story based, and I spent a lot of time with Josh and Turgeon, kind of getting all of our stories. We all have, just kind of interweaving them and putting little Easter eggs in places that close followers of all of our series will pick up on.
True.
But it's been a lot of fun. I've had a lot of fun playing a villain.
Turgeon, why
Say
don't you
more
tell
about
us?
this.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Kron.
No.
So this is essentially like a fiction video you're making in ED.
Right. Yeah,
Okay,
Josh has
alright.
his that has been going on for a long time, cataloging his journey that he
Josh started
before
first.
Distant
didn't he?
Worlds.
Yeah, he started before any of us did.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. And then I feel like Josh has kind of started out documentary style, and then it slowly layered on the story, and now all three of ours are just kind of like one giant space epic.
Yeah.
I think I made a comment on one of Josh's first ones saying that I said if the Discovery Channel existed in 3301 as it was then, I said it would look and sound like that.
Yep.
Mine started off. The first couple episodes I did was kind of like Discovery Channel-ish, but the intent was always there to add a deeper story into it. I just didn't know how. I wasn't sure how I would integrate that into an Elite Dangerous story or an Elite Dangerous video, because to be perfectly honest, I really didn't watch any other Elite Dangerous YouTube videos. The only couple of videos that I'd ever really watched was a couple of Obsidianet's videos. And we were very fortunate to have Obsidianet come on as a guest with us on the Brocast, and you know, I'm sure that we'll get him back on at some point in the future. But I wasn't really that big into YouTube when it all started. And I saw Obsidianet's videos, and I was like, hey, you know what, that's kind of cool, and I'd like to do something like that. And it looks like something that I could do. I have the computers.
We have the technology.
We have the technology. Why not give it a shot? And so I did, and it turned into a very interesting story that evolved quite a bit, and met Shibuka and Turgeon along the way, and then started weaving the stories together. At one point, quite a ways into the story, mind you. The story that I wrote.
Yeah, we had to have a lot of build-up.
Yeah,
to weave them together.
There was a fair amount of build-up. Well, also because we were at very different parts of the galaxy, and you know, I was, I don't even know how far out, 40,000 light years from the bubble at one point, and you were coming back from Distant Worlds, because both you and Shibuka had gone to Distant Worlds together, and you guys were on your way back. So, you know, meeting up and trying to coordinate it. And at that point, you know, I didn't really know you or Shibuka that much. I mean, we hadn't collaborated on anything beforehand. We had just started talking in the game and hanging out in Discord and getting to know each other. And then Shibuka and I had started the Brocast, and then I wanted to get introduced to you because I started seeing your videos, and I was like, oh, I love this guy's videos. And you know, it was really cool to come together as a player group and collaborate on bringing 3 stories into one. And so my series is basically that. Is just, it started off as like a sci-fi documentary, which eventually led to the story of me finding an escape pod on a planet, and who was in that escape pod was a woman who, I mean, I don't want to spoil it for anyone who's not watched the series, but there's a woman in an escape pod, basically, and she has direct ties to Canon. That's all I'm going to say. Canon Interstellar Research. And the story kind of got woven into Canon lore, and then just kind of went from there. And it's been going on for quite some time, although the most recent installment is delayed for the time being until such time as I sit down and put the rest of it together. There will be more. It is not over yet, unless I blow myself up.
I will say that there are some major plans.
Yes, there are. Yeah.
That will be is going to be like the culmination of, if you've been following or if you decide to follow, it's going to be the culmination of everything that's happened so far, and I'm so excited for it.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we do have to wrap this up relatively soon as well, because Shibuka is very soon going to be a baby daddy.
Yes. While we're on that subject, before I forget, let me just tell you this. Long-time listeners of the Brocast, new people, all of you, I'm only going to be on the Brocast maybe 2 Sundays after this one. Once baby Shibuka arrives, I'll be taking a break. Probably, it's going to be at least 2 weeks, if not longer. It all depends on how mama's feeling and how baby is and all that fun stuff. But I will be popping in from time to time. I'm still going to be in Discord. If you haven't joined our Discord, Turgeon, if you want to throw a link in there so people can sign up and keep up with us. Also, I mentioned this earlier, but if you're having trouble keeping up with the stories, especially recently, I've been trying to, and everyone in the Brocast Discord has been getting on me about pinging everybody all the time, but I'm going to do it anyway. But I try to keep everybody informed on what's going on
with the announcements channel that we have.
Yeah, with the announcements channel, like any interesting things that pop up, I instantly run over to announcements, let everybody know. Theories, Galnet articles.
Great job, by the way. I wanted to mention that to you. Just the updates that you're putting in there. The systems, everything, keeping it up to date. We have a lot of explorers that follow. The Brocast and our series, because really that's
shock, really.
Yeah, not a shock. I mean, pretty much all of our series are exploration series to begin with, so it kind of makes sense that that's what we would be seeing as far as people following the series. But Shibuka's been doing a great job. I
didn't say how mine got started, did I?
Yeah, well, let's talk about Turgeon's next.
The first one that I did, the Mojo Moon video, I actually made it because I kept noticing these weird bugs popping up in the game and weird anomalies and things, and so I just thought I'd make one about jumping moons, because when you get close to these moons, do they still jump these moons?
No,
when you get two moons that are close to each other, they used to jump every 30 seconds instead of actually orbiting properly, and so I made this just a little short video about that, and people seem to like that. And the next one I made was. It was when we kept encountering POIs on planets and moons out as far as Beagle Point. You go down to any planet, any moon, and you'd find a crashed ship or a navigation beacon or something like that. Because Frontier probably hadn't reckoned that we'd be going out that far when they introduced all of the POIs, and they just made it a galaxy-wide thing. So I came up with justifications as to why these things were out there. I thought there needed to be a reason why these things are out there, and Frontier were just not saying anything. So I came up with all these stories, and that's what half of Turgeon's Travels is about: justifications for why these strange things are out there.
Which is kind of ironic, because we make fun of Shibuka as being the one wearing the tinfoil hat, but Turgeon comes up with the wildest theory.
Complete tinfoil, yeah.
Oh yeah, complete tinfoil. It's amazing.
Like
though.
cats are black holes. That was one of my favorites.
Oh, yeah, that is one of those. Have you put that in an episode yet? I might. Cats and black holes, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
a lot
so
of us
that was-
appreciated that. The lore and
Yeah.
the story explanation, because it was hard to set our mind right around finding 1,000 tons of tea, 50 Kylies from the bubble.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you've done a great service.
Yeah, I think my favourite one of that is the episode I did with Carl Glider, because that literally is on the furthest small planet out in the Beagle Point system. So it's about as far as you can get from Earth as you possibly can. And it's I found crashed ships and beacons there, and that's the story I did with the Cold Glider. And there's an explanation as to why. If you haven't seen that one, you should watch that one. Which is Distant Words is that expedition, that episode rather, and that explains why there happens to be navigation beacons on the furthest most planet from Earth.
Well, just going right back to the very beginning of what started this entire conversation, go watch Turgeon's new episode. Came out
Yes.
the other day. Turgeon, if you want to just say one or two things on that episode, because I know when you and I talked, you said that it was your brother that had kind of challenged you to do that.
Yeah, actually, I think it's been out for a few days, so I'll say what the motivation behind that one. It's actually the previous two episodes to that one are kind of a setup to allow this one to happen, because it was a long time ago. My brother said, because he sometimes comes up with crazy off-beat ideas for some of these things, and he said to me, "Would it be possible to have an episode that you're not actually in?" And I thought, well, what? So, yeah, all right, then that sounds like a challenge. And so I spent months thinking about how I could actually have an episode that's just the AI that I'm not actually in. And that's what this episode is. That's what this one has turned out and transpired to be. Quite a challenge, and I had to use features in the previous two episodes to set it up to allow it to happen. But that's how these things go.
Well, I have a challenge for you. I would like to see an episode where your AI aren't in them.
Just me. Yes.
I think that might even be more challenging.
Oh, it is, yeah.
Because
It would be.
without you still have, what, 3 AI and a potato?
Yeah, I'd have me and the potato and Science Guy in his frozen pod, but I wouldn't be able to speak to him. But
I
he'd still be
imagine-
there.
I imagine that there'd be at least one instance of emergency protocol 4. Was that what it is?
Emergency
It's-
protocol.
Yeah, emergency repair procedure 1 is the default
yes,
one. That's-
yes.
This sounds fantastic. Why haven't I
kicking
seen
things.
this?
You've been
Oh,
living
yes.
under a rock,
Fucking hell.
Kron. That's how you haven't.
I think
You've had the
case.
weight of. You've had the weight of the galaxy's mysteries on your shoulders. I think we can
Exactly.
forgive you.
Exactly.
Yeah, I
And
need a.
that weight is much appreciated by us. Much appreciated, because without you guys
it is.
having that weight, we wouldn't have the wealth of knowledge that we think we have.
Well, this is it. The more Salomé and Children of Raxxla stories there are, the more material we have to make our own stories with. And
Exactly.
that's what we want.
Yeah, absolutely. So, enough talk about our YouTube channels. Let's
Well,
get
Jay
back.
Funky says he wants to see me ramble to the potato and lick the glass of the windows again.
Just don't lick it.
Yeah,
don't
well,
lick the glass if it's cold.
It's possible.
When it's frosty, don't touch it with your tongue.
Yeah.
So let's go back and talk a little bit more about
Mysteries.
mysteries. Shibuka had brought up the whole idea of the androids. So,
Or
let's talk-
AI. Do we know if they were actually androids, or what type of incarnation? Do we know anything about that?
We don't, not that I'm aware of, but one of my theories, and you can go ahead and crinkle the tinfoil because it's coming. But if AIs got their hands on a ship and they weren't androids, and let's say they misjumped to the Dryman sector, or the Bovomid sector, or wherever they ended up. I feel like their first order of business would be to land on a planet and drill and gather as many minerals as possible, and make it to where they can build and create a colony and whatnot. And I feel like having physical versions of themselves would be an important task to undertake, so that they can. I mean, they're AIs. They're intelligent. They're sentient. They are aware of themselves. I feel like having a physical presence is an important part of that, and I feel like they would have done that for themselves.
Yeah, it does make sense because, I mean, they're going to have to, if they want to expand or repair even, they're going to have to harvest resources. And to do that, you've got to have some way to affect change on your environment.
Exactly.
So, whether that's a drone or an AI body, they're going to have something like that, I think.
Yep, they're going to be robot Thargoids is what they're going to be.
Oh, sorry, we got to interrupt the tinfoil thinking for a second. And do we have a Dutch challenge yet?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't think so.
We skipped the Dutch challenge last week because Tim was
we
killing
were-
people. He was on a murderous rampage. We could not reward that type of behavior, Tim. But we will definitely need a Dutch challenge this week. We have...
Yeah, the only person on a murderous rampage today is you.
yeah,
Trying
and
to
I'm only
kill
trying to
some
kill
stars.
myself, so, I mean, that's okay. I mean... Tim, if you're on, we will need a Dutch challenge. Tim's gone.
Don't think he's around at the moment. He's been a bit real life busy on and off the last few days, so it's not a shocker.
Okay, well, Tim's not the only Dutch person that we have on this channel.
Ain't that the truth?
We have quite
We've
a
been
few.
invaded.
So maybe we could get, or maybe we. No, I'd have to like redo the whole Dutch challenge graphic. And
I can do a
everything.
America challenge.
Oh yeah, let's try
Yeah.
a America challenge and see if anyone can
Dear.
read out.
Oh no, I'm not.
true
I
America.
won't put you guys through that. I'm not gonna.
Let's tell Kron first of all what the heck we're talking about.
Yeah,
So-
I don't know what you're talking about.
So Kron, one of our viewers, Tim, one of the bros on the Brocast, has every week does what we call the Dutch challenge. Okay, where he provides us with a phrase in Dutch, and we proceed to make complete and utter fools of ourselves trying to read it out loud. You'll never understand. it.
Sometimes as characters.
That does actually sound pretty cool.
Sometimes as
I
characters.
visited the Netherlands once, and yeah, there's no way I could say any of that.
It's pretty tough.
My wife and I had a great time watching commercials just because the language was so dissimilar to what we were used to.
There was a Brocast episode, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, to where Josh recited the Dutch challenge as Borat, Hergen recited it as Sean Connery, and I recited it as Christian Bale's Batman. And
Yeah,
was that
it was-
Christian Bale's Batman?
That was
That was
Christian Bale's
fun.
Batman.
Okay.
Yes, it was.
Are you trying to make fun of me? Is that what that
I'm
was?
just asking. Just asking.
That was definitely Christian Bale's Batman.
Okay, right.
I won't do that to you guys' ears.
So yeah, that's what we do, and it's fun, and it's sort of become like a weekly routine for us. And our guests are, of course, have to participate in this as well. So you would.
Yeah,
you would-
Obsidian
I would love
Ant's
to
done
give
it.
a go.
Oh yeah, Obsidian Ant did it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's always fun. It always makes for good times. I think what we should be doing is, instead of just saying it, we should also be trying to translate it, and that should be the second part
Yeah,
of the challenge.
Lord.
We could say what we think it is, read it out loud first, and murder the pronunciation, and then take turns trying to figure out what it actually means, because like what? Who was it? One of the guys put in the bro bar earlier. It was a picture of a kid. It was like on a billboard, and it says, "Mama, die, die, die."
Yes.
And that was Dutch, right? And it means this.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
Lord.
was saying for
Yeah, the
people who
kid-
don't
the
speak
kids-
Dutch,
yeah, I want
this
this
sign might
one,
look a
yeah.
little morbid. It was like, "Mama, die, die, die."
Just a little, yes.
Just a little.
Yeah, that was a billboard by Chucky.
Yeah,
Yeah.
General Ghost is saying we should try a Hungarian challenge.
Oh Lord. Do they even use the same letters as us? Is that more of a Russian thing?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Crawling with accents, but yeah.
Yeah, if it's in the Cyrillic stuff, that'll be even more of a challenge.
Well,
I'm just gonna yell angrily in the microphone and hope that it's kind of right.
Ghost, you can go ahead and put it in the chat. I mean, we can certainly take a look and just see before we decide whether we'll do a Hungarian challenge or not. But, at least give us the opportunity to see how difficult of a task this would be. Because, I don't know, Hungarian? Never spoken Hungarian before. I don't even know what Hungarian sounds like.
I still haven't
My
spoken Dutch.
hovercraft is full of eels.
What?
Do you not know the Hungarian phrasebook sketch by Monty Python? Good heavens.
Which one is that in?
Oh, just look it up on Google sometime.
You don't happen to recall like
Hungarian phrasebook?
Hungarian phrasebook. Oh my god.
Yeah, Monty Python.
I'm pretty sure I've seen it because that full of eels thing. I know I've seen that.
Yeah, you don't forget that.
I do love Monty Python, but when I was very young, my parents were a little bit more censoring as to me watching Monty Python, just because of the. I had one of these moms who, every time anything swear word or nudity or anything was on the screen, she'd jump in front of the TV and go la 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 la. Oh god. So, Monty Python's Meaning of Life was amazing, except I don't remember half of it. She wouldn't even let me watch the big guy exploding and throwing up on everyone. She thought it was too disgusting.
Oh, Mr. Creosote. Yeah.
Oh, fun story.
wafer for the monsieur. Come on.
Fun story. There's a movie called Big with Tom Hanks in it, and I was probably 10 years old when we were watching it. It was me, my parents, and we were over at my grandparents' house, and there's a scene in the movie where Tom Hanks is like attempting to take the bra off of a girl, and that scene came on, and my mom like jumped up from the couch and was screaming, "No, no! Fast forward! Fast forward!" so there's this next part of that scene is Tom Hanks like grabs her boobs and just kind of like playing with them a little bit. My grandpa doesn't stop and fast forward because it was on VHS. He just hit fast forward. So Tom Hanks' hands were going so and he was just like, oh my god, I laughed so hard. It's one of my fondest childhood memories because my grandpa just hit fast forward and his hands were just moving so fast.
I think Ghost is Commander DK in the chat. I think. Oh no, he's got General Ghost.
Jay Funky says he's got a Dutch challenge there.
Okay, hold on. General Ghost put in Hegjet Mazni Nez. Oh yeah, see, look, all these accents and stuff.
There's loads too.
That does look a lot harder to pronounce. Do you see that? Just scroll up a little bit. Hegjet Mazni Nehez Sotben. Of course, it doesn't sound anything like that.
No, it wouldn't. Yeah.
Any clues?
They love their accents. The further east you go, the more accents they heap on letters until they collapse entirely and they just use Cyrillic instead.
We get to America and we're like, ain't no accent but the American accent.
Oh god. The American accent. The American accent. There's so many accents in America. I mean, just look at New York. Okay.
New York with the quality and the firefighters.
There's so many accents in New York alone. You have the Brooklyn accent.
The big ones are New York, Boston, which is right outside New York, has its own accent. The Deep South has their own accent. Louisiana has its own accent. I don't understand it either. Virginia, the state north of me, has like a Canadian accent almost. Then you've got
a lot of the northern border states sound very Canadian.
Yeah.
Texas, they have kind of a unique.
Oh, Texas, yeah.
Oh yeah, Texas and California has got this like weird like everyone's always high kind of
The,
accent.
the Carolinas have an accent.
Yes, we do.
Californians
Yes.
have an accent, although it's milder. I think that's just because they're stoned all the time, so it's more like.
Yeah, but,
Hey man,
but you have to have
what's
like
up?
a country that's like thousands of miles across to have that.
Yeah, no, it's
To
amazing.
England, we've got like dozens of accents. All you have to do is drive half an hour down the road, and you come into.
That's very true. England's the exact same thing. You got tons of accents there. Or Switzerland, they have tons of accents. Anyhow, listen, we're digressing a lot here. We're supposed to be talking about
We
AI.
do this a lot.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
do tend to
rabbit
do this. Apologize, bros, for
We wander in space. We wander in chat. We do.
yeah. Let's get back to the topic of conspiracy theories and artificial intelligence. So, Shibuka.
Yeah, I had a quick nose around. I did actually find a reference ages back to why they're illegal in Elite, but I can't find it again now. So obviously someone's removed it because you see, you shouldn't find out why things are illegal in Elite.
So, well,
Conspiracy.
Let's recap this theory right from the very
Yes,
beginning.
it all fits.
Let me go ahead and recap this, okay? So, the current theory that has been shared by Shibuka and Kron and discussed with several other commanders of
Aramis was a
notable
large brainchild behind this
interest,
too.
Aramis, Commander Aramis, is that the three areas of space, Conflux, Hawkins Gap, and Formidine Rift, are parts of an expedition that had taken place. And we're only seeing 3 parts of the expedition. Now, this was my question as to why did we only see 3? How come the numbers weren't 2, 3, 4, and then there could be like a 1 and a 5? But I'll discuss what my theory was on that in just a second. Your theories were that a couple hundred years ago, artificial intelligence was banned from the bubble. These AI set off and ended up in Hawkins Gap in the Dryman sector.
Or in the Bovomit sector. We don't know where they started.
Or the Bovomit sector, one way or another. And both of those sectors are permit lock sectors that if you draw a path, and I'll show the map here once again. Let me pull the map up real quick. So here's map number 1. You can see the arrows. Well, no, this is... Yeah, so, okay, so here. So the map is starting at Dryman, which is the permit lock sector. It's going down to the Hawkins Gap sector. That's number 1. Then it jumps to number 2, following that arm, and then bypassing the human bubble to get down to the Formidine Rift at number 3, and then continuing on to the next permit lock sector, the Bovomit sector over there.
Using the Heisenberg Bridge, which is basically the only way to cross the Formidine Rift.
Using the Heisenberg Bridge. So, this is the theory that they have come up with. So, AI left the bubble, ended up in Dryman, and then have some type of exodus and avoid the human bubble by coming down the arm, crossing over behind the bubble, and then continuing on to the Bovomit sector. Why they chose those sectors, we don't know. Shibuka, any idea? Kron, any idea why those... Why would they go from from Dryman to Bovomit or vice versa? Because if you take a look here, I have a map pointing in the opposite direction. See, the arrows just kind of change direction.
Yeah, well, they're mostly following the galactic arm.
Yes.
Which makes sense for an expedition.
But why from Dryman to Bovomit or vice versa?
I could not tell you. My only theory with that is that they're aware of something we aren't. That they're aware of whatever their destination was, wherever they started, the other location held something of importance to them.
Okay.
Maybe they came across... See, I would like to theorize that they came across another sentient race that perhaps they're in conflict with. Because if you want to go by the unknown probe pointed to a system in the Col 70 sector, and that's thought to be the Thargoid homeworld right now. If you look at that, I mean, that's relatively close to the bubble. They could have been circumventing our bubble, and they could have been circumventing the Thargoid homeworld as well. I think that if this is rogue AI, there's a good possibility they came into contact with Thargoids and had to leave. But as far as what they're searching for. I don't know. I feel like that's going to be something that we're going to have to wait for some kind of Galnet article or some other kind of mystery to pop up and give us that part of the story.
All right.
Yeah, I would think out loud a little bit and expand on that too. I mean, to know why they went where they did and taking the path they did, we probably would like to know a little bit more about what they're up to and what they're going towards or away from. And if we consider, that the key to the decryption is Exodus, I think that puts my mind a little more in the direction of this is not an expedition to explore or just for, grins to get away, but perhaps really an exodus would imply that they're leaving under not the best conditions. And I don't think it refers to the exodus from the bubble 200 years ago, because the points 1, 2, 3, if they're meant to be encountered in that order by, the expedition that's actually using them, that's not really.
Well, hold on.
It's not consistent with coming.
So here is my theory, and please excuse my very rough draft of pointing these arrows here. I am so not as talented as Aramis is at making maps beautiful. Okay, so my theory was basically along the lines of what you just said, which is we have 3 separate systems, and Exodus could have been, and I really like the idea of the artificial intelligence. My theory is that the Exodus happened as they left the bubble, and they chose 3 possible systems to jump to. For whatever reason, maybe they thought that those sectors would be the most probable chance of setting up a new home, not too far from the bubble in case things needed to fall back into place. And they only had the technology to make those, what did you call them? What kind of jumps were those?
7 to 15 light years.
No, not the 7 to 15 light years.
Oh, the mist jumps?
Mist jumps. Okay. So let's say these AI were in the bubble for a lot more than these 200 years. Okay, let's say that they've been here pretty much the whole time, and we didn't realize that they had never left. But this whole thing with MetaDrive and the advanced FSD technology, maybe they got a hold of that, and Exodus means they need to get out of there. Okay, so maybe something happened, people realized that AI were still there, only a few people figured it out, and the AI knew that now they had to leave, and they had 3 possible sectors that they could leave to, 1, 2, and 3. So they sent a couple of different groups off to go check those sectors out, and if we disregard the other paths and just assume that they kind of came out into those 3 directions, let's say the people, the ones that jumped to 3 didn't find anything there, then they jumped again down the arm and ended up in Bovomit. Say the ones that went to 1 or 2, again, didn't find anything and jumped over to Dryman, and that's where they ended up in the permit log system. And we don't know. There could have been 3 groups. There could have been 2 groups. Maybe one went to 3 and then jumped over to Bovomit, and the next one went to 2 and then ended up jumping to 1. So, I mean, like, they might not necessarily represent a sequence, but rather 3 separate sectors to check out, and then left their beacons behind as they scouted those systems looking for some type of planet. There is also, and this is something that we haven't really discussed much, but the whole idea of bringing back the detailed information from those systems and getting the detailed scan of those destinations, those rally points on those planets, what is the relevance of that? We don't know what the connection is yet. And I think that that's going to play a role in helping to decipher all of this, is knowing what exactly was the purpose of those rallying points.
Yeah. Well, I will say that I did a little digging into the rally points, the planets themselves, and with the help of a lot of the bros in the Brocast that got me those screenshots. Guys, if you're listening, thank you so much for it. It was incredibly useful. Hawkins Gap, the 4 rally points there, all shared trace amounts of antimony. And antimony is one of the rarest minerals in the game. And for all 4 of them to have trace amounts of it, it's not something that is like a red flag or anything, but it is something to investigate. But unfortunately,
statistically unlikely for sure.
Statistically unlikely, yes. So, but the thing is, in the planets in the EFOT sector, none of them had antimony, and none of them shared any kind of mineral makeup. And the same thing with the 2 that I investigated from the Conflux. But something to keep in mind, but it's definitely, not anything to lose sleep about at this point.
Tinfoil, then.
Indeed. I feel like that was almost Frontier maybe trolling a little bit.
Yeah, that's totally possible. I wouldn't put it past them.
Yeah.
And in terms of Josh's theory, I agree. That doesn't not fit what the information we have. So.
Yeah.
And keep in mind the whole AI. We don't necessarily know if AI has anything to do with it. That's just part of our theories, of course. But it could have been another group of humans that left. Exodus, meaning exiting the bubble. There's so many different possibilities. I'd love to see what other people think about this. I mean, if anyone has a theory of their own, to put it in the chat, just based on what we've been discussing. This is the great thing about community, of course, is, the more people discuss their theories, the closer we get to the truth, because we need to put all of our heads together to figure this out. So, one theory is that the AI left 200 years ago and ended up in one of those 2 sectors, and now they're making their way down. The other theory is that they've been here and maybe now they're exiting, and those are the 3 different potential sectors where they are thinking of going. And we don't necessarily know if those permit lock systems, the Dryman or Bovomit, have anything to do with it. That matches up well with your theory, the first one that you were describing, because it does draw kind of that nice line going there. And if they were following a path, it would certainly do that. But there's been no mention of that yet. And it is really just speculation at this point that those 2 permit lock systems could have anything to do with it.
Something that it kind of struck me is the word Exodus. Mm-hmm. I feel like it definitely has some relevance. And when I think of Exodus, my biblical upbringing kind of points me towards Exodus in the Bible, where Moses and the Jews had to leave Egypt, and they spent 40 years wandering, looking for God's promised land. And I feel like that could almost be a little bit of symbolism on what was going on here. That's why the places they seemed to go were somewhat random. Like, why chose Bovomit?
Right.
Like, why choose Dryman to go to? Maybe they were just wandering, trying to find somewhere to set up camp, somewhere that they were satisfied with. Maybe they were wandering looking for something. But I feel like wandering could play a pretty prominent role in whatever their journey was, whether it was AIs or humans, or whether they were wandering by going to 3 different locations from the bubble, or following this path.
The other thing to remember about any Exodus story of that type is you're talking about people who are running away from an oppressor.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, whether that's us and AI or not.
Brent Wolf brought
Josh has found a shiny.
Yeah, I found a shiny. Brent Wolf just brought up, he said, there's also a Metadrive Eagle crash in Alioth. Maybe a data scan of the wreckage holds a clue.
Yes.
Has anyone been there to scan that?
As far as I know, that crashed Eagle has not been found. I know there's several people looking for it. There's a Children of Raxxla mission right now to find it. And it's a theory that those Exodus documents that were on board that Eagle have the coordinates of whatever Salomé found, and whatever the Feds and the Imps and the Alliance really are trying to cover up.
So.
Right.
Lots of things to uncover.
Something we haven't touched on, and that I definitely would like to know what some of the listeners might think, is what do we think are options for the significance of the S6:7 designated Diamondback Explorer? I mean, that is a human-made ship, unless it's just a spoof to look like one. What possible tie-in could that have? But the S6 certainly leads one to think that might be some relationship there.
Right, because the second line of the code starts with S6 and then the ERP and then the numbers. Definitely, I feel like it's definitely pointing to a connection.
I'm wondering if the 7 that it is S67, because the S6 references in the beacon things, all number suffixes aren't, don't they? The rally points 1, 2, 3, and all.
Right.
What if Obsidian? Well, Maya system, it would be 7. I mean, it's not any kind of reason to assume that, because why should a ship that's S6 carry a number of its waypoint? But in the absence of anything else, it is a. So if that was 7 and the others are 1, 2, and 3, you have to extrapolate the points in between on the path.
This is true. And I mean, a number designation like that seems like an AI thing to do to me.
Yeah. Well, there's...
plus it's scanned a station, which is something we can't do.
Yeah.
Point of mentioning that in the
we also have to remember that unknown artifacts, when you drop them in normal space and you're sitting next to them, their Morse code draws a picture of your ship. So we know the unknown artifacts are scanning ships, and even when you come
they know what the ships look like.
It scans you. So they have all of our information. So I feel like whatever alien race is behind the unknown artifacts could pretty easily replicate one of our ships.
Brent Wolf very rightly points out there that Big is the company that took over MetaDrive. And he says that Sirius Corp is part of Big Six. Maybe the S is Sirius.
Ooh, me likey. I actually hadn't thought of that.
Not bad.
Keen eye.
That's a good one.
I'm going to answer a question from the chat that Brent actually asked. He said, oh no, sorry, that was Beowulf asked. He said, Josh, something I've wondered about you about for a while. Where do you park when you're exploring in areas with no stations? Do you land on a planetary surface or find an empty area of space, or what? I tend to not land on planetary surfaces and stay for the night because...
Chicken?
I don't trust the physics of the engine. I don't want to wake up and find my
the
ship.
empty vacuum of space much more. I certainly do.
I do trust the empty vacuum of space. Usually what I'll do is I will land in on a system. I will turn myself away from the star. I will fly a reasonable amount of ways from the star and continue pointing myself away from the star itself, and then I will go to bed, so to speak. So just in case I kick my throttle with my foot while I'm sleeping, I don't fly into anything. That's usually
that's good thinking.
Usually the way that I do it. Because
you sleep in your cockpit chair?
Oh, I totally sleep in my cockpit chair.
I'm pretty sure you've got quarters behind you.
I can't even tell you how many times I have fallen asleep in my cockpit chair. I think I fell asleep in the cockpit chair the other night, as a matter of fact.
Oh, I will tell you this. If you ever fall asleep in your cockpit chair while in VR, those first 3 seconds when you wake up, you have absolutely no damn idea where you are.
I'm gonna have to try
I can
that.
believe.
That sounds like a trip.
Oh, it's trippy, man. Try just point yourself at a planet, nothing too bright, so you can actually close your eyes and drift off. And those first few seconds are something.
Well, Kron has used VR in a way that I don't think any of us have used it. He's doing this right now, as a matter of fact, he said. Do you want to share with us what you're doing with your CV1 at the moment?
The way you just set it up, people are going to be disappointed that it's not something just horrific or filthy.
Involving ball gags and
Josh and I have done that in VR. That was a joke. That was a joke, guys. It was a joke. I realized it was a bad one as it was coming out, and I couldn't stop.
But what I'm doing with it, it's I think the highest quality USB mic that I have. So I've got full backstory here. I've got basically a grown-up fort that I play video games on.
Yes.
Despite being a middle-aged man. And what it is it's a double-sized loft bed from IKEA. And I've got black, opaque, like throw rugs that I put grommets in so that I've got basically a curtain all the way around.
Oh, that's so awesome.
And then I sit under there, and I've got like multicolor LEDs so I can set my cockpit lights to whatever I want.
That's so amazing.
I'm totally serious, by the way.
Kron, can I ask you a serious question?
Yeah.
Is your mom okay with all of this?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm only allowed to play after I've taken out the garbage. But...
Okay, honey, you can go back to your man fort now.
Kron,
Exactly.
I'm so envious of your setup.
And so what I've done now is I've taken a carabiner and I've just carabinered my Rift onto the loft bed frame above me so that it's hanging down next to me and not picking up my key chatter and every time I move the mouse.
Oh, man.
So that's the full backstory of
It's
what
just
I'm doing.
dangling like an announcer microphone. You should set it up now.
Yeah, basically.
You know what you should do? You should use the Oculus cable. Like, it should literally be hanging from that. You should put it onto some type of like pulley system above your head, and when you press a button, it just lowers down and goes onto your head, so that the cable stays out of your arms. It doesn't get in the way.
Like the gangster sunglasses in a lot of memes.
And then when you don't want to wear it, you just press the button and it just retracts back up to the ceiling. And then, of course, when you want to use it as a microphone, you just tap the button lightly and it just drops down enough so you can use it as a microphone. I think that's the next.
That sounds like a lot of engineering for not a lot of use.
I think
so.
It's
That sounds like an engineer.
It sounds perfect.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That'll give me something to do next weekend.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, man.
Anyhow, so
yeah, so
we get on.
Did any other
I have
theories?
a Dutch challenge for you there in admin, by the way.
Oh,
J-Funk
you do?
has given us, if you want one. Yeah.
Yes, I do want to do a Dutch challenge. We've got 25 minutes left on the broadcast, and I feel like we'd be doing Tim a disservice if we didn't represent his country. So let me go ahead, and I'll just stop my ship right here, and let's go ahead and check that out. Get the Dutch challenge in admin. While we go ahead and do this, by the way, for all you guys just joining in right now, you're watching the Brocast. Welcome to the Brocast, by the way. This is a regular show we do every Sunday. Every Sunday from 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. Eastern Time, we are broadcasting. And, sorry, I'm just looking at this Dutch channel going, what in the hell is that say?
I've worked out roughly half of what it says.
I'm not even going to try. Okay, so before I continue on, let me finish up what I was saying here, and we'll get the Dutch challenge up and running. The Brocast is a live show every Sunday from 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. It's hosted by myself, Commander Josh Hawkins, as well as my co-host Shibuka.
Howdy.
And Turgeon Starstone.
Good evening.
We are joined today by Commander Kronfromgalvatron.
Howdy, y'all.
Who is a member of the Children of Raxxla. And we've been talking about different theories as to what could be going on with the current CG, the CG that's going on right now to bring back exploration data from Hawkins Gap, Formidine Rift, and Conflux back to either the Federation or to the Children of Raxxla. We have gone over quite a few different theories. We've got quite a few people with their tinfoil on very tight, and it's quite interesting. Turgeon's gone ahead and linked our three separate YouTube channels, as well as our Brocast Discord channel, which we invite everyone to join in, by the way. If you're liking this so far, if you've been watching the broadcast, you're going, hey, you know what, this is fun. We do this every Sunday. We often have guests on. We also have events that we do, races, mountain climbs, destruction derbies, and the like. And we hope to see you guys all back here next Sunday. I think we'll be doing a ship launch fighter canyon race, which should be a blast, a real blast. Yeah. And Shibuka will.
Oh, hang on. I'm slow today. There you go.
Thank you. I know. I'm like, geez, you guys, come on.
Slow.
I set you up and everything.
You're just waiting. waiting. Yeah, right.
What do I pay you guys for anyhow?
Wait,
Jeez.
Turton's getting paid?
Oh yeah, right. I
get
forgot to
paid,
mention Shibuka. You don't get there. We don't offer paternity leave here. So.
I'll just be taking paid time. Unpaid time.
Ooh. So we hope to see you guys here back next Sunday. We still have another 25 minutes or so to the show, so don't just leave quite yet. I mean, there's still going to be a little bit more discussion, and we're going to be doing the Dutch Challenge right now. So let's bring up the Dutch Challenge. I need the music. Turgeon, do you have?
Oh,
I've got some music.
Well, I've got Savi's here.
Okay, go ahead and put on.
It's time for the Dutch Challenge, where your hosts always make proper Muppets of themselves, eh?
All right. Now,
Yes,
usually,
apologies once again to the Dutch anthem there.
for the Dutch Challenge, I like to bring this up as well. We'll just play a little background music. Music. There we go.
Not the one that I keep trying to play that won't play.
Nope. We're going to go ahead and play this one. All right, here's our traditional Dutch Challenge music. So, Commander Kron, since you are our guest on today, you get the first go at the Dutch Challenge. Your challenge is on the screen whenever you feel like it. Give us your best Dutch.
All right. All right.
All right, let's hear it.
Ik ben op de planeet Mercurius scheiden kleine ruimteratten in Megan SRV. Yay. Vriend de aardappel.
Do we have applause?
Oh, we do, yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Not bad, not bad.
Not bad at all.
All right, Shibuka.
Oh, good God. Ik ben op de planeet Mercurius scheiden kleine ruimteratten in Megan SRV. Je vriend de aardappel. Wah, wah.
Oh, all right.
Turgeon,
Right.
you go.
Okay.
Oh, Lord.
Ik ben op de planeet Mercurius scheiden kleine ruimterotsen in mijn SRV. Je vriend de aardappel.
Damn.
Right.
All right. That
Make us
sounded
all
pretty
look
legit.
bad.
All right, here goes. Ik ben op de planet Mercurius scheiden klein ruimt rotsen in mijn SRV. Je vriend die aardappel.
I like how both of us were kind of like, Red Day,
What do?
Aardappel.
And
Well-
this has been a
And
sponsored message
Funky's-
by the Dutch.
Giving you the translation there in chat. He
Land
says
of
it means,
stroopwafels.
I'm on the planet Mercury shooting small space rocks in my SRV. Your friend, the potato.
Ah, thank you. Let's get the applause again, please.
Yes, you could spot the word apple there, surely.
Woo! All right. So,
Earth apple. Yeah.
thank you very much, Jay Funky, for the Dutch challenge. Tim would be proud of us all, I'm sure. So, we've got, let's see, how much time do we have left for Brocast now? We've got 19 minutes left. Could we take a look? Have there been any other theories in the chat? Anyone else posting theories as to what they think that all of these beacons are for, or what they represent, or what we're going to find out? Has anyone got their theory? If you already put it in there, and I'm sorry because scrolling up through the million chats is like impossible. Put your theory in the chat now. You've got like the next 30 seconds, just copy paste it and pop it right back in there, so we could take a look at some other theories and see what the bros think. I'm very curious what everyone else's think. Oh, and Turgeon, you haven't really given us your theory on this either. I mean, Shibuka and Kron have shared theirs. I've shared mine. What are your thoughts on all of this while we wait for the bros to put some theories in there?
Oh, I don't really think I've got anything that's not covered by those theories. I haven't really given it too much thought outside of that. There's some human involvement, is as far as I'd be prepared to say, because otherwise we wouldn't be finding things that make any kind of sense to us whatsoever. Now, whether that's an alien species that's had contact with us before, or whether it's some missing humans, or whether it's AIs, there is a human component to it. That's about it, really.
Okay, so you do think there's a human component. What do you think of the possibility of the AI with like android artificial bodies?
I hadn't thought of that as a theory, but it is a possibility, and it would also explain why there's a Diamondback that didn't answer hails and could scan a station and then disappeared, because it is a life form, the Diamondback.
It also plays into my love of the show Westworld.
Oh, Westworld tonight! Yay!
It's gonna be good.
Is tonight the last one, by the way?
I think there's 10. I think tonight's 9.
Oh, excellent. Okay, so Mog the Magnificent says, these beacons are pointing to a super gateway for intergalaxy travel, and it may or may not exist at Raxxla, wherever it is.
That's an interesting point he's just raised, because it's quite possible that if this is some strange, more technologically advanced entity type thing, then they could be setting up one point and the opening point and the closing point of a wormhole or something, so they could jump from their start point at Hawkins Gap over to the rift in one go.
Quite possibly so. I want to pull up the galaxy map here in 1 second. As soon as I land in here, let me go ahead and do that. And I want to show you guys something.
I'd like to make a comment on Raxa real quick while you do that.
Well, hold
Kron,
on, because I'm pulling up the galaxy map right now. I got to finish off this thought. Here is the bubble, and these are the 3 points. Okay, you've got Formidine Rift over here, you've got Hawkins Gap over there, and you have Conflux over here. Now, interesting, if you look at this, these 3, the bubble and Hawkins Gap and Formidine Rift, form virtually a straight line. Now, we have the Conflux over here all by itself, which kind of seems odd. We only have 3 systems, or 3 sectors that they gave us. What if, the same way as this forms a straight line, what if there's a 4th system that we don't know about that forms a straight line with this one over here, and it would be right about there? And maybe there's a 4th expedition point that we don't know about yet that maybe we'll find out about, and somehow the data that we find from there could point us in this direction. I just kind of like it because I like symmetry, and I kind of
that's
felt
an
like
interesting thought.
This was missing,
especially
something.
With the number of permit locks between the bubble and that region you're indicating.
I'd be curious to see if
there's a lot of permit lock zones on the way to that.
Right about there, folks, and that would kind of make like the nice X, you know. And I know that the X isn't really marking the spot, but Sol is in the center, and you have the X like this. So I wonder if someone could take a look down at that area and see if there is, in fact,
that's a good theory.
A permit lock.
It's not an easy area to
going with that theory and Raxxla, and this was actually the point I was going to touch on earlier. I'm glad I let you finish first, Josh. Kron, correct me if my recalling of the lore is wrong, but Raxxla was discovered before faster than light travel, right?
I'd have to look at the timeline.
I'm pretty sure.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it was. So it had to have been discovered by ships without faster than light capabilities, which
means
it's
close to Sol.
Yeah, it's close to Sol. And if that X really is marking the spot and it's symmetrical like that, that X falls within the bubble, which could lead to Raxxla.
Quite possibly so.
It hinges on finding that 4th point.
Yep, and it also hinges on whether or not FDev can implement things to have some kind of traveling portal.
Well, Drew Wagar did tweet out the other day. He said, congratulations on, finding all of this stuff, but this is the easy part.
Yep.
So there is a lot more. And
yeah, Elite is not one to throw out answers. I mean, all of their mysteries are very much slow burns.
Well, until the community comes together and solves them in 30 seconds.
Well, still, those mysteries are still slow burns. We're finding out each of these steps rather quickly, but the overall mystery unraveling is very slow.
Oh, my mouse just died. That's no good.
You use a wireless mouse? What kind of gamer are you?
Yeah, Brent Wolf just posted a really good question, and that's something we haven't hit on, is that as a lot of people have tried to go to the planets indicated by the satellites, they're having some issues with crashed desktops, and certainly that's gotten people thinking: is there really perhaps a small technical glitch that is disallowing us to see what we're supposed to see there?
Now, my issue with that is that without coordinates, this is a massive needle in a haystack, and it took what, hundreds of commanders around the ruins planet. It took them what, 6 hours to find it. It's going to be tough to get hundreds of commanders out to one of these sectors.
Drew said a long time ago is that whatever's out there predates Horizons, so it doesn't need landing on planets.
Yeah, you don't
so
need...
you might not need...
Yeah, well, the original Rift mystery for sure. But is the stuff, that we're getting pointed towards from the CG perhaps newer content?
Yeah, I guess used to help propel us in the right direction.
You know what would be really interesting? Because obviously it's going to be something that you can't land on. So it's not going to be a landable planet. It's not going to be something on the surface of a planet. If there is something related to Raxxla and like a portal to another galaxy or another world, I'm assuming it's going to be deactivated. It's not going to be something that's going to be active now, because I don't see Frontier propelling us into another galaxy altogether. I don't think that's in the plans. This is going to be a rune of something that's left over and remaining. And what would be really cool is if it was like tied into like this AI thing. Maybe imagine this, an entire planet that was like an artificial intelligence planet, or maybe like an entire planet that's made out of the whole planet is a portal instead of just like something that you have to land on. You can just go out and see it, and the whole planet is a portal. It's like a giant energy source of some kind.
That would be cool. Raxxla has been like compared to like a ghost planet.
A ghost planet.
Ghost planet.
Meaning it could be cloaked or something like that.
Yeah.
But you would always have to be.
Just one that has electrostatic ruins on it. Have we already found it? Aha! And we wouldn't know.
If you watch Turgeon's Travels, you'll know what he's talking about. Very, very good episode. Again, Turgeon, I can't tell you how much I enjoyed that one. It
took a lot of making that. I had to choose two locations that were half a galaxy apart, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
Just phenomenal, though. I mean, your storytelling, it just gets better and better, man. Yeah, I'll say it again for anyone who's just joining in. Make sure you go and check out Turgeon's new episode. It's up on his channel right now. Links in the chat and somewhere there. And if you haven't seen it already, go check it out. If you're not familiar with this series, you might want to go check out the whole thing. Between Turgeon, myself, and Shibuka, you have hours and hours and hours of entertainment. I'm not even talking about the Brocast, because, I mean, if you like listening to this Brocast and you're playing Elite right now and you're flying around going, oh, this is so much fun to listen to, we have over a dozen Brocasts already. I mean, probably 15 or 16 Brocasts. That's just our Brocast, with tons of guests and events and all kinds of stuff going on. Each one of them is 3 hours long. So you got loads of content there that you can listen to. But if you check out our series, The series are completely different. These are self-contained stories that tie into, well, Turgeon's and mine tie in together, as well as Shibuka's ties into the two of them. And Shibuka's is really kind of like the glue that brought the two stories really together, because he created a story that was based off both of ours. And it was genius what he did, and we're still working on it. But certainly go check those out. And
It's the shiny bow that ties up the gift box of all of our stories.
yeah, absolutely.
That's what Shibuka is.
It really is. And Shibuka's series is only, what, 6 episodes?
It's 4 episodes right now, with the 5th being the finale.
Okay, so there's one more episode to come once I get my lazy ass back in gear and start working on the series again. Which, by the way, reminds me of what I asked you the other day, Shibuka, and I said I was going to upload that stuff for you to take a look at, which I never did.
Oh, yeah, do that.
But I will do that, and once we have that done, maybe that'll expedite things as well, because it would be very helpful. So don't worry, folks. My series will continue, but you still have Turgeon pumping out episodes every couple of weeks here.
Every whenever he does them, yeah. The last few have been on the slower, a bit slower, but yeah, they're good ones. So.
Well, there's been a lot going on right now.
Yeah, there is a lot going on.
It's been kind of a perfect storm.
Oh, it's been great. I mean, like, at least it's given me the opportunity to do what it is that I really originally wanted to set out to do, which was to make Elite Dangerous videos, not necessarily the story videos, but also like update videos and content videos. So I hope people have been enjoying those. I mean, I know that they've got a pretty good reception. I love to hear the feedback in the comments when I put those out. You know, we have Obsidian Ant. We can't have enough people giving different opinions, though. And I see there's a lot of commanders that do put out these videos. I just want to provide another source for people to come to and get updates and get summaries. And I'm trying to stay as actively and involved with the ongoings and investigations as much as possible to bring that information to you guys, so you can get all of that in one source and not have to jump around and scour the forums for hours and hours like some of us do, like idiots, all day long.
That's why I never get any work done.
If I wanted to post a couple links for people who wanted to go and learn more about Children of Raxxla, do we have a mechanism to share that with some of our?
Yeah, put them in the Discord. Put them in the bro bar.
Okay.
And then Turgeon can even grab them from there and throw them into the chat.
Cool. I'll do it.
Excellent. So there'll be a couple more links there. And yeah, as far as Children of Raxxla goes, Kron, again, thanks for joining us today. Everyone who is in the chat and who's been watching, and for those of you who will watch this later on, because there are many, well, there's usually 1,000+ people that watch this after the show has gone off the air and gets up onto my YouTube channel. For everyone who's watching and who will be watching, if you're interested in joining up with the Children of Raxxla, their website is, well, you know what? The easiest way to do that would just be to post it in chat. I know Turgeon's already got the link there, so maybe, Turgeon, you can throw the Children of Raxxla link in the chat.
Yep.
And if you're watching this after the fact and you don't have access to the chat, or you're watching this on a cell phone and the chat's just a little bit too small, you can go to my, well, you're on my YouTube channel. On my YouTube channel, my last video was all about everything that we're discussing right now. And in the description for that video is a link for the Children of Raxxla website. It's pretty easy to remember. It's childrenofraxxla.com. That's Raxxla, R-A-X-X-L-A. But you can check out the video if you want to get a quick recap and you don't want to watch 3 full hours of it if you're just jumping in now, because the Brocast is coming to its conclusion now as we reach the 3-hour mark. So, it's been a lot of fun having you on, Kron, and we always appreciate it when guests stay on for the whole length of the show.
Glad to do it. It was fun talking with you guys.
Yeah, it's a long show, and not everyone has the stamina to stay for such a long period of time. But
God knows I don't.
You certainly were a trooper. You stayed on the whole time. I hope that you got to say everything that you wanted to about the Children of Raxxla. Is there anything else you want to add before we conclude?
Just one thing about new applications, since suspect there might be some people who want to go and consider, signing up with us. While the community goes on, we've slowed down a little bit on processing new apps just because we've got a lot of the consoles, sort of attention focused on running the CG. But don't hesitate to go onto the website, post on the new applicants thread. And if you happen to be somebody who's carrying around a bunch of exploration data and they're really excited to get involved, say so, and we may usher you in discreetly and quickly, just in the interest of getting people in who are really dedicated to be involved. But otherwise, go there, post. We've got a link to our Discord channel where you can go and say hi and request membership on there as well. And we'll see you, and hopefully look forward to be getting some good members involved that way. It'd be really awesome.
Excellent.
Absolutely, man.
As I had put in my last video, which side will you choose? Very quickly in the chat, can we get just a quick word? I'm very curious if people are still thinking that they might turn in their data to the Federation, or and I mean, if you're too shy, I mean, whatever, nobody's going to jump down your throat here. Or Children of Raxxla, you can put in Raxxla or Federation in the chat right now for the current CG. Who are you going to support? COR or the Federation? Let's see what people say.
Wow.
This might give you an idea. And don't forget, folks, I mean, don't just say it. Take part. If you want to support either one of these factions, please go turn in your exploration data for the CG to the faction that you support. And let's make sure that this gets resolved so that we can all find out what is going to happen next, because there's a lot of mystery going on here. Look at this. I think it's pretty safe to say.
Couple of feds in there.
Couple of feds. Good for you
That's
guys.
okay.
Represent. Hey, you got to represent,
Well, that's
Kron?
fantastic, though. It looks like we've got a lot of people out there who are going to support the CG. And in my opinion, I think that's going to help the story move forward. It's going to help all of us to sort of be able to take part in the story. So I think that's excellent.
All right.
Yeah, I think it'll force the hand of the story. Because the story's going to come out anyway, but this is track option, I think.
Turgeon, we're going to need the applause here in just 1 second. Commander Kron, want to thank you officially from the bros. You will now be an official bro of the Brocast. We'll change your status on the Discord channel so you can join the Great Hall of Bros.
Oh, yes.
And Broettes.
Bros.
Sweet. That's awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much for joining us here. It's been a pleasure having you on the show. This is the time of the show where I ask everyone to go ahead and put in the salute symbol into the chat, please, as I just did, so that I can go ahead and say a thank you and goodbye to everyone here. Turgeon, Shibuka, as always, it's been a pleasure. Let's go through this list.
Last orders, please. Haven't you got homes to go to?
Greytest General Ghost, the Sniper Cookie Rebel, Commander Rod Waiter, Jerome W., Shibuka, Kevin Weiss, Renee Reinhold, Charles McManny, Minimini, Andrew Box, Benny Stingray, Creepy, Tyler Anderson, Spooky a Lot, Tikas, SCE2Ox2, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that.
Liquid, yeah, sorry.
Liquid Side.
Take this for you.
Beowulf Schmidt, Andy K, Commander Veiled Rover, Andy 8P, Brent Wolf, Matt's Galaxy. Where's your brother, Matt's? John Arnell, Jorland, Academic Dust 894, Like EFO, Sebastian Roch, Too Quirky, Andy K, Ravenwood 253, Doom WZ, Delta Snake, and I'm sure there's tons more people in there.
We've had quite a few leaves.
You know what? It's also a lot of people aren't watching on the actual live. Oh, here we go. Mog the Magnificent, Callian Blake, Liquid, X-Man 2008, Matej Karilla, Steel Talent, Hello Tony, Elaine Anderson, Lissa Kira, Renee Reinhold, Danamaster, Potter's Revenge, Unsir John, Rhett Gibbs, God. Noobsy, Neil Martin,
made it back from
James
Fantastic
Harfield, Lucci Coffee, Nabil Shauli, Ian Pogel, Lekia Foe, James Harford, Commander Zersrin, Simon Rigby, and Antonia Vena Delgado, Nathan Musisnitsky. Mersac, Ulysses Wolf, Peter Perlus. Right. For those of you who are just catching up on the chat, and if you're a little bit behind because you're not watching in the actual live, we thank you all for being a part of this. There's another one, Ugo War. It is the end of the Brocast. I hope to see you guys all next Sunday, same time, same place, 3 p.m. Sunday Eastern Time, right here for the Brocast. And bring your ship launch fighters, because we are going to be doing something with them that's going to be a lot of fun. For now, this is Commander Josh Hawkins signing off.
Murica.
Raxxla.